And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. How y'all doing? Good to be with you. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. Gonna be a busy day on the radio broadcast this AM. Many things to get into. Fallout from National Signing Day yesterday. We're going to talk about that coming up here in a couple of minutes because the Gamecocks celebrated when Nicholas Harbor dotted the I's and crossed the T's in order to join the University of South Carolina. However, they are still 2 spots behind Clemson in the recruiting rankings.
So why do you got to do that? I mean, I don't understand why you've got to mention Clemson with South Carolina. Can't you just celebrate South Carolina without mentioning the other place?
I cover both schools fairly.
What does one have to do with
equally.
the other, though? Well,
they're both college football programs. They're both in our market.
They're not even one's
fairly.
in the SEC, one's in the ACC. Yeah,
and they play each other.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Every year.
Yeah,
Every year.
You're right. And last time they played each other, South Carolina won.
31-30. I very much remember that.
They absolutely did. And just in case some people forgot, I just wanted to remind them. #
I don't think anybody forgot. I don't think anybody wearing garnet and black is going to let anybody forgot. However, I cover both schools. I cover them fairly, and those are facts. South Carolina ended up with a crazy good recruiting class, one of the best recruiting classes of all time in that school's history. But the other side of the coin is their crosstown rivals also ended up with a really good class. In fact, depending on what composite you look at, a better class. And we are going to break down both of those classes later on in the show, including Rob Brown did a little homework on Nicholas Harbor last night, this AM. Spent a little while watching some game film, a little film breakdown, and I got some thoughts on the player that SC picked up yesterday.
Rob Brown watched film. When Rob Brown watches film, nobody watches film like Rob Brown when Rob Brown watches film. Yo.
It's a Rob Brown breakdown coming your way soon.
Awesome.
The hockey team refers to this as the Rob Brown Show with Rob Brown featuring Rob Brown.
You know,
I'm not mad about that.
On the Upstate Pulse, we often talk about the Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show, and we definitely.
By the way, I've told none of you to do that.
Yes,
that is all on your own volition.
We do remark of the creativity on the name of the show and a lot of things like that.
It's very unique.
It is.
It took me a while to come up with, but
nobody else can say that they're Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show.
Correct. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking Nicholas Harbor later on in the show. I am going to use Nick Saban in Alabama in order to prove a point that I have been making about Clemson for about the last 6 months. And it's a good thing. It's in a positive way. So I'm going to get to that a little bit later on in the radio broadcast. We have got Rashad Beard coming up in the show. Now, we had to push Rashad back. He will be joining us at 11 o'clock, top of the hour, because Rashad had to hit the old optometrist this AM. So at 11 o'clock, Rashad will join us. When we are done with Rashad, it's Thursday, and you know what that means.
I'm hoping Rashad comes in with eyes dilated, because I'll have a lot of fun with that.
Those giant old man glasses.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Space suit visors.
He'd still make it look cool, though.
He would. Rashad at 11. When we are done with Rashad, the very next segment, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Time for Fight Club!
With a very special announcement.
Of a huge announcement.
Yes, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
You are going to want to be here for Fight Club, you wrestling fans, because we got a little something to tell you coming up at 11:20. So stay tuned for that. We'll be talking with Rashad at 11. We'll be talking Fight Club at 11:20. Twitter trending topics to wrap up Thursday after that. I will also tell you that coming up at around 10:40 6:45 this a.m., we are going to be joined by Michael Pius of the First Tee of the Upstate. It is one of my favorite charitable organizations. I have done work with First Tee for about a decade now. Did it with the First Tee of the Emerald Coast down in Pensacola. Got linked up with First Tee of the Upstate here in the upstate of South Carolina. They have got a very, very cool raffle going on where you're going to get your opportunity to win the ultimate golf trip, which will include 3 rounds of golf on 3 very infamous courses, including Spyglass, including TPC Harding, and including the Pebble Beach. You've got a chance to win those and to put some money towards a good cause at the same time. So at the end of the second hour of the show, we'll talk with Michael Pius of First Tee of the Upstate. Then immediately with Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. Then we roll straight into Fight Club. Then we roll out with Twitter trending topics. So, ladies and gentlemen, should you wish to be a part of the radio broadcast today, it would behoove you to do so in the first hour and 20 minutes of the show or so. Now's your chance. 844-FAN phone. 844-326-3663. 844-FAN phone is the number. You can text us on the radio broadcast at 71307-71307. Start your text with the word FAN, F-A-N. You text 71307. Start that text with FAN followed by your message. We will read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. That is my handle, at The Rob Brown Show. Lonzo is at Lonzo on Word. Lonzo on Word. And you can hit up everybody at the station by using the handle at The Fan Upstate. That is also true on the Facebooker as well. Go to facebook.com/The Fan Upstate. Not only can you see everything that we're talking about, that we are posting, et cetera, but you can also come on board and watch the live stream. We've got Steven in there right now. Skrilla's up in hanging out with us this AM. Go behind the scenes of the show. Not only are you going to get to hear the entire show in its entirety, but you're also going to get to interact with Lonzo and I and other members of the Rob Brown Armada off of the air, where we have some ridiculous conversations, and I suspect that will be true today as well. So go to The Fan Upstate on Facebook or subscribe to the Rob Brown Show on either Twitch or YouTube, and you can be a part of the behind-the-scenes portion of the show.
Can I have just a quick public service rant here? Quit posting your ring video of your people falling down. It is funny, but think of how embarrassing it is for the people who you're putting out there for everyone to see. Because everyone's going to click and like watching someone fall down the stairs. They shouldn't, but they will. And if it's your husband or your wife doing it, you've just embarrassed them in front of the world. Would you post it?
Probably.
No way.
Probably.
No way. No way.
And so the reason I think I would is because I don't think that there's a person in my life that wouldn't post it of me.
Yeah, I'm watching this dude fall down the stairs over and over again, and it's horrible that I just keep watching it over and over again. And I should not. So it's making me feel bad about I just sent it to you. So you can on Twitter, so you can also watch it over and over again. It's messed up. It's just.
And I mean, I will watch it repeatedly. For the record, I would like to point out that for about 200 years, there was a show on television hosted by one of the greatest TV dads in history. That, of course, would be the legendary Bob Saget. known as America's Funniest Home Videos. It is still on the air today, except now it's hosted by Carlton of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Also known as Alfonso Ribeiro.
And a hell of a dancer.
Yes.
So America's Funniest Home Video ran for, I'm genuinely guessing, 17 years. I'm ballparking it at 17 years with Bob Saget. It's still on the air today. And what is, at its core, what is that show? It is home videos of people having something embarrassing happen to them. Now there's funny, cute animal videos and goofy mechanical breakdowns and stuff like that. But at its core, ladies and gentlemen, at its core, America's Funniest Home Videos was just people being embarrassed and us going 30 minutes of my fellow Americans eating boat. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference
Ratings
there.
goal.
There's a difference there, though. They can win some money that way. Money might be worth the embarrassment. This is people posting it online. I do like what Steven says, although we probably didn't want to see it. It was probably ugly. What I wouldn't give for the footage of the failed Rob Brown rail slide, which could happen again tomorrow night. He says he'll never do it again.
I have not done it since.
But, you know,
I don't think
you make it there. You're getting ready to go into SmackDown. You're all excited about it. You're just having a good time, and you forget to think about it.
For those of you who don't know what happened, back in April of last year, the Eagles, the band, not the Philadelphia ones, came to town. And your boy, Rob Brown, at 30, how old am I? 7 years old? I'll be 38 in actually a handful of days.
Before he bailed on the rail, he could have just told you in a second, but you know, head trauma.
I slid down a stair rail as I have been doing my entire life without problem. Never had an issue. I've done it. I can't tell you how many times, in the thousands of times. I've slid down stair rails on my butt, right? You hop up there, you slide it down to the bottom, you hop off, you look cool in front of your friends. Going to the Eagles concert with the madre, the little brother, the lady friend, her mom and stepdad, I decided I'm going to slide down this rail right outside the concert venue. Hopped up there, started sliding down, about halfway down. The last thing I remember is looking up at my cowboy boots. Looking up at the boots and going, pretty sure it's not supposed to look like this. Then I came to with the little brother holding me up in the air like, dude, hey. And then seeing some stranger hugging my mother who could not look at me. The little brother, as I come to, I'm like, what happened? And the little brother goes, you look dumb.
Was your mom being hugged because she was being consoled because she was thinking she's going to miss the Eagles concert?
No, my mom thought I died. My mom was crying. She genuinely thought she just watched me die. Because apparently, and I don't remember this, the back of my head bounced off the concrete like hard.
We're going to be talking about something similar in the Fight Club at 11:20, by the way.
Sure are. Stick around for that. Going to be good. Join us on the stream, Facebook.com/FanUpstate, Twitter.com/FanUpstate,
by the way,
Twitch or YouTube.
Rob was back to work a couple days later. I mean, because that happened on the weekend, didn't it? Or was that
on? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, I didn't miss a day.
He did miss a day,
and I damn sure did not miss the concert. I damn sure did not miss that concert.
I've had
no, I didn't miss a day of work. That was on a Monday. Yeah, and I was back at work the next morning.
I've had one, maybe two, maybe multiple concussions. Because you don't remember after a while. I'm not making light of it. I really don't. How much of the concert did you really enjoy, though? I mean,
I loved it.
So it wasn't
the concert vividly.
So you just got knocked out.
Yeah,
You didn't get a concussion.
I got KO'd. Yeah, there was no concussion. I got KO'd. But it is what it is. James says Schadenfreude will always have an audience. Correct. America's Funniest Home Video, by the way, has been running since 1989. So there you go. There's just some thoughts.
All right. I still have a problem with you posting your ring videos of
that's fine.
Of your family.
Don't fall down in front of anybody's house. That's pretty much the new rule. Skrilla, Luke, Steven, James, Diggs. What's up, everybody on the stream? Join us there. We have got a lot to get into. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, Nicholas Harbor was the most sought after remaining recruit on the board yesterday AM when National Signing Day got its start. Oregon made a big-time late push. There were rumors about a Nike-sponsored NIL deal as he had met with Phil Knight when he was out in Eugene. But yesterday, Nicholas Harbor put on the Gamecock logo. What was the cause of that? We'll talk a little bit about the recruiting effort from Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks, and I'll give you some thoughts on the player profile of Nicholas Harbor and what he brings to the team. Then to wrap up this hour, Alabama did something yesterday that I think proved a talking point I've had about the Clemson Tigers. I'm going to connect the dots, and it's a compliment. We'll do that when we come back. Rob Brown, the great Lonzo, you. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. Kevin, I have not, but I've talked to some people who have, who say that for all the rep, that Pam Anderson comes across as a very, very nice lady who had some pretty crappy setups in her life over the years. So there's a good chance I'll watch it. Good chance I'll watch it.
I don't know. I mean, how do you approach that? I'll be in here watching the Pam Anderson documentary.
Just don't say the Pam Anderson video, because that's a very different concept.
Or just say you're watching
Make sure you emphasize documentary.
You're watching the Anderson documentary, and they'll do Anderson Varejao?
Silva?
We actually had Debbie Dunning, the Tool-Time girl, who I think was second after her. So pretty sure it wasn't Pam Anderson, a Tool-Time girl. I know she was on Baywatch, but I don't remember. Dude, I get that, Kevin. It's a joke, okay? Wow, the demand for Tom Brady memorabilia has increased. I so much don't care. And even if it made me money, I don't want any Tom Brady memorabilia. I don't know, man. It sounded pretty dramatic, Steven. Rob should have known when you're taking a bump, you got to get your head up.
Rob didn't know he was taking a bump. Cody Rhodes told a story yesterday about the last Rumble he was in before he left WWE. And he said, I didn't know I was leaving. He said, and everybody thought they knew I was leaving. He goes, I didn't. He goes, I saw The Undertaker standing in the corner across from me, and I decided, let's just go pick a fight with The Undertaker. Like let him choke slam me. It'll give me a moment. He goes, I ran over, I hit The Undertaker. He goes, I accidentally hit him as hard as I could in the back. He's like, I lost my momentum. I just clubbed him. So The Undertaker turned around, slapped the choke slam on me, pulls me in to set me up, and goes, bump off me and drop kick me. Because The Undertaker just let me flatten him for no reason. I didn't know those stairs were going to Undertaker me, is the point.
What a beautiful day out today. I don't know if you saw this, but I forget, a former player came out yesterday and said that the NFL is scripted. So now a bunch of the NFL teams or players are talking about, man, if I had read that script, I'd have went home.
Yeah.
I just love it. Yeah, but you got a nice ride, Joseph, man. You're all right. You'll be good. It's roomy.
Nicholas Harbor, 5-star recruit, signs on with the Gamecocks of South Carolina yesterday. A massive win in which they jump over Oregon, who made a very late push. Harbor took a last-minute trip out to Eugene last weekend, spent a couple of days on campus, and got the full treatment, man. They had Phil Knight come out. They took him on a tour of the Nike Village, and there were a lot of folks, including Shane Beamer himself, who said that they got a little nervous there at the end, right? Shane said the night before National Signing Day that he got a text about Nicholas Harbor that got him real nervous. Said, I didn't really sleep that much after all of that.
You mean the night that he was
on this show?
On this show?
That is correct.
Yes. By the way, the video of Beamer and the guys watching him put that's some good stuff.
Yeah. It's South Carolina. I will give them this. And I want to talk about this later because there was actually a question that I did not get to ask Shane Beamer, and I will ask him the next time we get him on. And it's a question I will ask Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers as well when we get the chance to interview him, which I'm working on actively as well. And that question is, how big are those social media videos, right? I went yesterday, I was watching South Carolina put out graphics and videos and all that. And it's one of those things that, and I want to talk, I actually plan on talking about this later in the show, so I won't get too deep into it here. But those videos were coming out. I'm watching two distinct groups. I'm watching South Carolina fans who are getting hyped by these videos, ready to run through a wall, and some of them were quite goofy, right? Shane Beamer sent out a video to Nicholas Harbor. Part of what Harbor was looking for was a place that he could run track too, because he's a monster on the track, right? And Beamer said, saw a video of you running track. You look like a man amongst kids. And I thought to myself, I bet I can do that too. And then there's this like really hype Rocky montage of Beamer getting ready to run a track.
They use the Chariots of Fire.
Yep.
Music. Yeah.
The video backs out, and it is Shano about to race his kids and his dog. And he obviously smokes them all. And then he does the most hilarious thing I've seen in a minute. He stands on the top of a track and field winner's podium and puts all of his kids on the steps below him and is just fist pumping in their face.
Dude, he was jumping
Hilarious.
Up and down. And shout out to his children. They played that so well, like they were all.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's one of those things that.
Did you mention the dog? I don't know if you
the dog was in there too.
Yeah, the dog was on the track.
Pretty funny.
The dog decided he wasn't having any of that.
It is one of those things that if another coach does that, you go, oh, this is corny. This is cheesy. This is dumb, right? But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is how the players feel about it, how the recruits feel about it, how the fans feel about it, how the boosters feel about it. And they loved it. We'll come back to that later. I watched some game film on Nicholas Harbor last night. I've watched, I watched Cam Pringle earlier. Well, I guess last week when he signed for the 2024 class. I've watched some video of Nick Harbor up until yesterday, but I really dived in yesterday after he signed and ran a little bit more film this AM before we started the show. And my breakdown of Nick Harbor is this. The kid is pure athleticism. There is no hiding that. Nicholas Harbor is absolutely a monster of an athlete. He's got the size at 6'5", 225. He's got incredible speed. Incredible speed. And all of that's on display in his track video and in his football videos. The dude has got rockets attached to his boots, right? There's no denying the raw athleticism of this kid. My favorite videos were him lined up at the defensive end and the outside linebacker position. Guy absolutely destroyed pass concepts. And he did it all using speed. Nicholas Harbor did it all using speed. Most of the pass play breakups that you saw Nick Harbor involved in were breakups created by his speed, his ability to just flat out run by offensive tackles. They're still finishing the kickback on pass pro, and by the time they've got the kickback and the hands come up to block, Harbor's already next to him. There's nothing they can do. He's got that kind of speed. Now, what he will need to do on the defensive side of the football, we'll come to offense in a minute, and I'll tell you why. What he will need to do on the defensive side of the football when he is lined up on the defensive side of the football is he's going to have to develop some pass rush moves, not just rely on speed. Because, yes, I've got no doubt against high school talent in D.C., Virginia area, that most offensive tackles aren't getting recruited to college. Most offensive tackles have a ceiling of high school varsity, and Nick Harbor's got a ceiling of genuinely NFL talent, at least athletically. I did not see a ton of pass rush moves out of Harbor. Now, I'm not saying that Nicholas Harbor needs to develop a straight-up bull rush, although there are situations it might help. I am saying I would like to see his ability to use a rip, to use a swim, right? To get that hand on the outside shoulder of the tackle, come over the top with a swim move to then get that arm locked away. Lonzo played OL. There is nothing more frustrating. I played tight end. Nothing more frustrating in the world than when you get your hand on a guy's shoulder, you think you've got him on the kick out, and he busts a swim or a rip move and just disregards you as a pass blocker.
By the way, I played defensive line also. So I've been on both sides of that. I have swam and I've tried to stop the swimmer. And it's a much easier to swim than it is to stop the swimmer, especially when you got a guy who is quick. They don't have to be fast, but those moves work based on speed, not power, speed, right? And again, just elementary level, because I know we've got some people who maybe like football but don't have all the terms. The swim and rip move are two of what are considered the core three pass rush moves. There's the bull rush, the swim, and the rip, right? The bull rush is I am going to come face to face with you, and I'm going to just try to push you backwards. I'm going to try to get into your chest before you establish your center of gravity. While that center of gravity is at your shoulders, not sunk into your hips, I'm going to try to push you backwards and collapse that pocket. Usually that is used when you have a linebacker or somebody stunting in behind you. By bull rushing, you open up a gap, and somebody else gets through that gap. The swim move is when you get the outside hand onto their shoulder pad, right? So now you have created leverage, pushing them back to the inside, and you take the inside arm, you go over the top of that arm, and as you bring that arm down, they're going to have their arm, if you do it right, they're going to have their hand either on your shoulder or inside of your shoulder pad down around your armpit or your rib cage. That over the top arm is going to rip through that, pull it off of you, and that's how you get by. The rip move is the opposite. Outside arm, you're going to hit them on the shoulder pad, push them to the inside. When their hand comes on you, your inside arm is going to start down at your hip. You're going to rip up through it, right? You're going to bring your arm up like you're punching the sky. You're going to create leverage under their arm. You're going to force their arm up and over. You get by.
Texas says Shano said he's not playing defense. Shane said his focus is going to be on wide receiver, not tight end, not edge rusher, wide receiver, because he's so damn athletic that they want to get him into space. They want to use Nicholas Harbor for the best thing he brings to the table, which is at 6'5", 225, and with that much speed, an absolute nightmare of a matchup, right? Because I can put him anywhere on the field, split him out at wide receiver. Let's see if I can get him lined up against their 5'7", 5'8" cornerback. I can move him to the inside as an H-back. Let's see if I can get him on a linebacker who's rolling in at 250, but most certainly is not matching his 10.200 meter dash time, right? He is a mismatch nightmare, which means he is absolutely going to be primarily utilized on the offensive side of the ball and primarily utilized as a pass catcher, either split out or out of the H-back spot. I don't have any doubt about that. But I also know that, based on the video I saw, Nick Harbor brings to the table a hell of a lot of speed and power, which is a very rare combination. I am not insinuating that Nicholas Harbor is going to be a two-way player. I do not think he's going to be a full two-way player. I do think he's a dude that you might bring in on obvious passing situations, right? It's 3rd and 11. They're running a 5-wide spread. They've only got 5 linemen in there. I'm sticking 7 or whatever number he's going to wear out on the edge. So if nothing else, you have got to dedicate one guy just to blocking him and open up the path elsewhere.
You know, and the best time to do this is in the second half when that offensive line is tired. They haven't seen him all game. He's bringing him in a couple plays for some disruption. By the way, you can watch us on stream on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. James says, if he went to Clemson, I wonder if y'all be saying this. And then he says MHM, which I don't know what that means. So you got to help me there because I'm old.
We're both old.
Yeah.
But the answer is yes.
And first of all, have you seen how many Clemson defensive players are in the NFL right now and making a big show of it? Of course we'd be talking about that. We're not. You're
up in your feels for no reason, James.
Yeah.
You're up in your feels for no reason because
so settle it down. It may have something to do with with what his handle. I mean, you see what his picture is. Is he probably not feeling very good right now?
Right here on the prep sheet is my Clemson topic that's literally coming up next. So get up out of your feels. You're going to get your time too. This show covers both teams. All right, now I'm putting that in the back pocket because we all know that's true. On the offensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball is obviously where Nicholas Harbor is going to have the most impact for the Gamecocks. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm interested in here's why. Once again, athleticism through the gym, right? No question about it. Nicholas Harbor has incredible speed at 6'5", 225, but the ability to run with any wide receiver in the country, matchup nightmare like we said. There is one thing that I think Nicholas Harbor does need to work on. Somebody asked me yesterday, what is the ceiling for Nicholas Harbor? Right? What's the ceiling? I'm going to say for now, Kyle Pitts, right? I'm going to say Kyle Pitts. I think he could be very Kyle Pitts-esque, and he's going to be in the same ballpark. There is one thing that I think that Nicholas Harbor can very much work on and could elevate himself past a Kyle Pitts level into a level of his own. And that one thing is actual technique catching the football, right? Harbor's got the speed to create space. He's got the body control, although I would like to see him work on polishing route running, right? One of the things you're looking for in a top flight wide receiver. I am looking for a guy who is very sharp into and out of routes. The way that you beat defensive backs, aside from being 6'5", 225 and able to run through the roof, the way you beat a defensive back is with body movement. It is not just about athleticism. Sure, you're going to get a guy like a Randy Moss who can moss you. But the way you beat defensive backs is with body positioning when the ball's not on its way. You talk to any DB and they're going to tell you, I'm backpedaling. I'm watching a wide receiver. What is a DB looking at? He's looking at your hips, right? Like Shakira, your hips don't lie. When you stop or start to break down because you're going to cut, that DB doesn't know. Are you cutting inside? Are you cutting outside? Are you throwing a double move at me? Are you breaking down to make me stop my back pedal and then try to sprint past me? The only way you are ever going to consistently beat defensive backs is to be able to lie to them with your hips, right? If you're cutting inside, you have got to be able to make your hips the last thing that go with you. You got to be able to make sure to get that plant foot down and make sure that when you turn, the hips turn as you're going that direction, not before. I would like to see Nicholas Harbor clean up his technique into and out of breaks. That'll be a big help. I also would like to see him clean up his technique actually catching the football. Here's what I mean by that. Nick Harbor, in the video breakdown that I've seen over the last 2 days that I've really dug into, Nick Harbor's got a lot of body catches, right? He's not catching the ball with his hands. He's catching the ball with his body. You don't want to catch the ball with your body. You want to catch that ball out in front of you with your hands. Anybody who has played tight end or wide receiver, even defensive back, has been told this a million times. Catch the ball with your hands in front of your body for a few reasons. Number one, your hands are further out in front of your body. That's less time that a DB or linebacker has to get their hand in there and break up the pass, right? Because if my hands are 3 feet out ahead of my body, that is 3 fewer feet the ball's got to travel. That's 3 fewer feet of room a cornerback can get a hand up in there and knock it away. Second off, you catch it against your body, that ball is going to spin around on your body if you don't catch it solid, right? You catch it up against the numbers and you try to trap it, very good chance that ball kind of bobbles around. You can be knocked to the ground while you're still bobbling the ball. It's incomplete. That ball could bobble in and out of your body. It can be picked. It can be incomplete. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong when you catch the ball up against your body instead of with your hands out front. Nicholas Harbor, I saw a lot of body catches, a lot of letting that ball get into the ribs and then trap it against the shoulder pads, a lot of elevating and catching the ball in the belly and then cradling it at the belly. And part of the reason is yes, he's going up against inferior talent, right? He's not going up against SEC or ACC defensive backs. He's going up against high school kids. He's going up against 5'6" defensive backs who are also walk-ons on the soccer team, right? He's going up against not top-flight college football players. He can get away with that at that level. You go up against some DBs like you're going to when you play Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia in the SEC. It was not going to work that way. That is going to help those guys knock the football away from you. But outside of that, the dude's a freak, right? The dude's a freak. And that's why there was such a push to get that guy. And that's why it's so big that South Carolina did. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, Alabama finished up their National Signing Day yesterday. And they did something that immediately went, that's what I said about Clemson. This is what I said about Clemson. This is happening because of the same thing I said about Clemson. A direct comparison towards something that you Clemson fans have taken as an insult, a slight, but it's happening to Bama too. And there's a reason for it. And I'll talk about that when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo is in charge of the radio station and broadcast. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show with a fan upstate. Ralph, hold the line. I'll get you when we come back. Thank you, Joey B. That is exactly correct. The biggest advantage a 6'5" guy has is that he's got 3 feet, 3 inches ish of extra length on the arms. That a guy that's 5'10" has 2.5 feet of arm strength, right? Or of arm length. You let the ball get into your body, you are giving up this much advantage over that guy in a game where, how many times have we heard, it's a game of inches, right? So the arm's in tight, you're giving away one of the biggest advantages you have as a 6'5" wide receiver. You go watch guys like, go back and watch Marcus Colston with the Saints. Go back and watch go watch Kyle Pitts with Atlanta right now. Those guys know to catch the ball up top with their hands out, and there's just a reason for that. Horrifying. I did, Hudson. Absolutely fantastic. That's the content I'm here for. I'm just going to put us on the away screen until you stop doing that.
Sorry, I got lost.
hormone-free solution to help relieve my symptoms. My doctor told me to try Equel. Equel is the only supplement made with S-Equol, a naturally derived plant-based ingredient that relieves symptoms of estrogen decline. With Equel, I feel like myself again. Discover safe relief for symptoms of estrogen decline with Equel. You can try Equel risk-free for 90 days with Equel's 90-day money-back guarantee. For more information and to get 20% off your first order, go to equel.com/news. That's EQUELLE.com/news for 20% off. Equel.com/news. I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on supportive staff. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weak immune systems may have a
Steven, just like how no one puts baby in the corner, no one puts Lonzo in timeout. Many have tried unsuccessfully. Let's just sign you out randomly for no reason.
It did that to me the other day.
Don't do that, Steven.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. We'll get to my point on the Bama-Clemson connection here in just a minute. But before I do, my man Crazy Ralph head on through the break. Let's give his time to shine. Ralph, welcome back in, big dog. Good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to Rob. I'm actually not going to go off on Beamer today. I'm going to give him a day off because I feel like he earned a little respect yesterday. But let's be honest. Somebody's got to coach these boys up, and he's yet to prove that he can do that. So it's going to be wait and see for Mr. Beamer. But I also agree with you about Haba. He's very raw. He's a raw talent. He's not a finished product by any means. And so we're just going to have to see how he develops. As far as him, not catching the ball away from his body, I agree with that as well. I was a receiver coach for about 30 years, so I know a lot about that position. But the good news for him is he's got Rattler as his quarterback because half the throws will be to Irmo. So he'll have to reach out and catch those things because we all know he's not going to get hit in the chest with any balls as far as Rattler still being the quarterback. So I'm excited about Haba, the potential there. But as long as Rattler's the quarterback, my hope is minimal, okay, because we all know the man only played 2 decent games all last year. So we got to be realistic with this thing. But for the time being, I'm going to give Beamer the benefit of the doubt, at least for the rest of today. But good things are on the horizon. I believe if everybody exceeds expectations, I don't have much for Dole law gains, but we'll see what happens. Can a tight end coach call plays? It's possible. We'll see what happens. But I did want to call in today and just give Shane Beamer some props, since I'll probably be busting his chops the rest of the year. Have a great day, guys.
Ralph, appreciate it, buddy.
I think the best thing about that call is that he shouted out Irmo. I mean,
he did.
He shouted out Irmo.
He did. Let me go with this to Ralph. I'm going to agree and disagree with Ralph. First and foremost, I will agree with this. The Missouri game last year, the Florida game last year, those are 2 games that should have been won. And then in the case of the Florida game, certainly deserved a better showing than what we got, right? It is one thing to have all the tools in the tool shed. That don't mean you know how to build a house, right? I absolutely think. Now, I'm very excited about Shane Beamer. Remain very excited about Shane Beamer. You go back and you look at the Tennessee game. You go back and you look at the Clemson game. These are games when there were a lot of people thought things were going wrong, right? A lot of people things were going wrong after the loss to Florida right before that in that Orange Crush stretch, where a lot of folks thought South Carolina was going to finish 0-3 to end that game or end that run. They went 2-1, and the one L they took was the one they shouldn't have on the road in Gainesville. Now is the toughest part for Shane Beamer. Now is the toughest part for Dow Loggins, who was just mentioned by Crazy Ralph. Now you've got to take, arguably, the best assembly of talent that the Gamecocks of South Carolina have had in a decade, maybe longer. You got to do something with it, right? You got Spencer back. You got Juice back. You're adding a guy like Nicholas Harbor to the mix. The highest rated recruit since what, 2020? When Birch came in, he's now gone. One of only, I think 5 5-star South Carolina's gotten in the first out of state ever. Now you got to add these guys to the mix and coach them up. We now know that Shane can culture build. He's done it. Step 1. We now know that Shane can recruit in-state. Check 2. We now know he can recruit out of state. They had a pretty damn good out-of-state haul to the Gamecocks. Check 3. What are those 2 other boxes on the Rod Brown 5 steps to success for a college football coach? Win all the games you're supposed to, which they did not do this year, and win all the games you're not supposed to, which they also did not do this year. Now, they won a few games that they weren't supposed to, right? If you want to make that box, win half the games you're not supposed to. That's what a lot of coaches will tell you. A good team wins all the games they're supposed to and half of the games they're not. You can make the argument Beamer won half the games he wasn't supposed to, right? Supposed to lose to Georgia? They did. Supposed to lose to Tennessee? Nope. Supposed to lose to Clemson? Nope. So half the games he wasn't supposed to, but he didn't win all the games he was supposed to. Now you got to take that to the next level. Joey B on the stream just popped in, said the difference between good teams and great teams is consistency. That might be the truest truth that's ever been truthed on this show. Because you look at South Carolina, and they had some games that you went, damn, Texas A&M, Tennessee Clemson. And then they had some games that were just not good. Just not good. Now you got to take the team that showed up against Tennessee and Clemson and won those two games as what were they to Tennessee? Like 21.5-point underdog? You got to take that game. You got to take your performance on the road at Clemson, a very difficult place to play, especially in that game. And now you got to bring that team out every week. Now you got to bring that team out every single week. And if you do that, now all of a sudden you're going somewhere. Now Shane has the tools in the tool shed to build that house. But he's got to come to work every day and show he knows how to do that. And again, there's not enough evidence on the table for me right now. Not enough evidence on the table for me right now to say that Shane can't do that. But I also don't think it's disrespectful to say there's not enough evidence on the table right now to say that he can either, right? This is that conversation we had last week. If you tell me Shane Beamer has got it in him to be an excellent coach who is championship caliber, I don't believe you. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he can. I'm saying I don't know if he can or can't. What I do know is that after that signing class yesterday and looking at the class he's building for 2024, which started with the pickup of Cam Pringle, I would say the dude has now got the tools to do it. This year is a big year for Shane. That's not to say, Lonzo, that it's like 11 wins or bust. That ain't an easy schedule. Clemson's going to be good again next year. Georgia is reloading, although they got the number 2 class, not number 1. And I will talk about that in a minute, that Alabama-Clemson thing. I'm not avoiding it, sensitive Clemson fans. I'm telling you, I ran out of time because I got more to say about your school than I could fit in 2 minutes.
You wanted to give it more time.
Coming up next.
That's very considerate.
I am. I'm a very nice guy.
You know what else we're going to do?
I'm a giver.
We're going to give away a 4-pack of Furman basketball tickets coming up at some point.
You know what we haven't done? We haven't done it in the first hour. Want to do it here? Or should we tease it a little bit?
I think you got to tease it a little bit so more people can be ready, have the number ready to go.
Tell you what, 10:30. Second break of next hour, we'll give away Furman tickets. Family 4-pack to the basketball doubleheader at the Well. We'll give that away in half an hour, just over half an hour from right now. We come back. Alabama accomplished something yesterday on the recruiting trail. A lot of you guys haven't heard anything about it yet. There's a reason why. And it ties directly into something I've been saying about the Clemson Tigers for a hot minute. I'll tell you what that is next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
The commercial just talked about being the, the fourth member in the boy band that no one remembers. Would you be the fourth member in the boy band?
They made my man Joey use the last name Fat One. You can pronounce it Fatone all you want. But Joey's last name was Fat One. I would make the argument, Lonzo, that the two most famous in-syncers today are Timberlake and Joey Fatone. The fat one is also the funny one. So yes, I would be boy band member number 5, and I would also have the longest career. It's always the cute one and the funny one. That's it. That's the list. Those are the boy band members who move on. That being said, name me 2 members of the Backstreet Boys right now. First and last.
Nick Lachey.
Nope, that was 98 Degrees. You
I
got Nick Carter.
I never had a boy band phase. Sorry, I just no. It hit after I was already an adult. I'm older.
Rob
That's
didn't have a boy band.
all right.
You know what Rob had?
Unless you consider
Rob had a girl phase while the girls were into Backstreet Boys. There's a difference.
Okay, all right. Unless you consider New Edition a boy band. I mean, I can tell you about Robbie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. I can tell you about those guys. Johnny Gill later on. It also may have something to do with the schools we went to, too. I mean, it might. Thank God I didn't go to a country school, which I think are wonderful. And when I say country school, I mean country playing school that plays a lot of country music. They were, but Boyz II Men came after New Edition. New Edition was before them, and a member of New Edition actually signed Boyz II Men. Okay, there's something wrong with me because I'm a New Edition fan? I mean, come on. Kevin, cool it now, okay?
Because I want it all or nothing at all.
I think during
Trey, I think I have to fight you outside the playground because you put that song in my head.
I think during boy band, the heights of boy bands, I was more into rock at that point. What was the prime years of boy bands? That's a good point, Joseph. Here we come, walking down the street.
02. Let's see.
You said 98.
Yeah, I'm going. Let's see. Whole. NSYNC's first album came out in 1998. They went up to about 2003. So I was
by the way,
pretty much
in 98 I was 30. So I mean,
I was 13.
Okay, so I mean, boy bands probably not in my wheelhouse.
Hour Numeros of the Rob Brown Show. show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great Lonzo with you on a Thursday morning. Good to have you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Want to be a part of the show? Do it right this very second, because we have got about half an hour for your phone calls, and then we're booked. Final segment of this hour, we're going to be talking with Mr. Michael Pius, Executive Director of First Tee of the Upstate, about an opportunity they've got coming up for you to not only support a great cause here in the Upstate to make the lives of some kids around here better, but also the chance to go play Pebble Creek and Spyglass at the same time. Then, at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, is going to join us. We'll talk some Panther football with him. Then, at 11:20, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Fight Club with Lonzo is coming your way. And I suspect that segment's going to go long, because we have not talked last weekend's Royal Rumble yet. And we have got Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow evening at the Well downtown. And we will make a big-time announcement for you wrestling fans on Fight Club. So stay tuned for that at 11:20. Then we have Twitter trending topics to wrap it up, and then we're done. So if you want in, you got about half an hour to get in at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663, or to text in at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we shall read them on the air. So, we'll spend another second talking Cruton, shall we? Let's talk some more Cruton. And here's what I want to talk about. We've talked about the fact that Clemson put together a top 15 class, very good class. We'll look at their class coming up very shortly. I will tell you that Clemson's class is impressive. We took a look at South Carolina's class and where they ranked. But I want to take 30 seconds to talk about another class outside of our market, and for a reason, stick with me. The University of Alabama has done a pretty good job historically recruiting under Nick Saban. Now, Nick Saban, according to 24/7 Sports, Nick Saban has the 64th ranked transfer class in college football. Not ideal. In fact, you'd think it'd be higher. It's not going to be. Why? Because Saban gets guys on the recruiting trail. There's just not a lot of room for transfers unless they just want to be in Tuscaloosa, right? Very few guys hitting the portal are going to add something to Saban's team that Saban doesn't already have on the roster via the Cruton. South Carolina ended, according to 24/7, in the 17th spot with 1 5-star, 13 4-star, 16 3-stars. 1 spot behind Florida State, 2 spots behind Clemson at number 15 overall. I honestly thought that the addition of Nicholas Harbor might jump them up a little bit. It did not, according to 24/7, at least not yet. The first class that you find that has more than 1 5-star recruit is Texas A&M at number 12. They got 2 of them and 13 4-stars. At number 10, Tennessee got a 5-star, 15 4-stars. At number 9, Oregon got 1 5-star, 24 4-stars. USC got 2 5-stars, 17 4-stars. Miami got 2 5s, 24s. Oklahoma got 3 5-stars, 19 4-stars. Ohio State ranks 5, 1 5-star, 24 stars. LSU ranked 4th, 2 5-stars, 24 4-stars. Texas ranks 3. They got 4 5-stars and 16 4-stars. The University of Georgia is ranked 2nd. They brought in 29 recruits, 20 of them 4-stars. They got 5 5-star players. 5. Lonzo, Georgia got 5 5-stars. Alabama got 9. And 19 4-stars.
That's almost twice as many.
Math. It's almost twice as many. Now, let's play the Rob Brown Show home edition for just a second. Lonzo, if Ryan Day and his Ohio State Buckeyes turned in a recruiting class consisting of 9 5-stars and 19 4-stars, a class that averaged across all the players a grade out of 94.69 and was a 30 commit class. If Ryan Day pulled in 9 5-stars and 19 4-stars, what reaction would you have to that?
Good. I'm not gonna celebrate or anything because it's what we expect at the Ohio State University.
Well, if that's what you expect, you should fire Ryan Day because you got 1 and 20. They got 9 and 19.
I'm guessing they'll be all right.
Oh, you're going to be fine. But this class, and I mean this,
I am not sold on the star system. I'm not. I haven't been for a long time. Just because someone's a 5-star doesn't mean they're going to play like it when they get to college. It's just in a lot of ways, it's as much of a gamble as it is drafting someone number 1.
I don't disagree with you, right? I don't disagree with you. If you get a 5-star, there's a chance they go on to become an all-conference player. There's a chance that they don't. If you get 2 5-stars, the chances that one of them becomes an all-conference player skyrockets. There's also the chance that neither one of them does.
I think the bigger question in this day and age, 9 5-stars, how many of them are there in 2 years?
That's a fine question.
How many of them transfer out?
Absolutely.
Because there's only so many positions available on the field to play.
Sure thing. Alabama got 2 of the highly touted 4-star quarterbacks for that class, right? 2. There's no way, unless Nick Saban, who has famously said he does not want to run a 2 quarterback system, just decides to change his entire philosophy to give both QBs snaps, they're not both playing. And I would absolutely suspect that there's a very good chance that at the end of not this upcoming year, but next year, one of those 2 cats goes, yeah, I'm going to head on down to Miami or wherever, where I can be the starter immediately because I'm not going to get PT here. But when you bring in 9 5-stars versus 1 or 2 or 3, the odds that at least 3 or 4 of them become all pro players skyrockets. I'm with you. I think the star system is an arbitrary metric that is very, very subjective. For instance, yesterday, everybody on the 24/7 boards was getting hit with conversations about the 5-star prospect Nicholas Harbor. You know what ESPN had him ranked? A 4-star guy ranked around number 60 in the country. It is subjective as a metric. I do not disagree. But it's kind of one of those things that subjective is a metric, but also where there's smoke, there's fire. And this is the one thing that I think a lot of people don't do. And it's why it is something I make a point to do. A lot of people hear 5-star, Nicholas Harbor, big guy. You go look at, for instance, Clemson's class. Clemson's got a 5-star in this class that came in by the name of Peter Woods out of Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama. 5-star guy playing defensive line. Big time player. A lot of people read the 6'3", 270. They look at the speed. They see the stars. They see he was being recruited by Alabama as well. Oh, he's going to be good. You can go to YouTube now and watch game film on every one of these cats, right? Because as they're coming up through the ranks and they start to see their college football talent be developed, just as much as the colleges want to go recruiting, these guys want to be recruited. So they put all the game film they can get their hands on YouTube. You can go see it. I watched probably 30 minutes of Nicholas Harbor footage yesterday afternoon and another 10 this AM before he came on the air.
Whereas back in my day, it was videotapes, and you had to mail stuff to people.
Yep. Now it's just all right there on YouTube. Go watch the film. You can put it together. But there are guys like Nicholas Harbor, like Peter Woods, Clemson's tightest recruit in this class. There are guys that you can go watch the footage and go, damn, this guy's good. Like, this guy's stand out good compared to everything else I've seen. And yes, there is the risk that a guy is a enormous fish in a tiny pond, right? The baddest dude on the block ain't all that much if you grow up on Sesame Street. But I watched a lot of film on Nicholas Harbor. I watched a lot of film on Woods. They're monsters. They're dominant. Now, here's where I wanted to go with the discussion we've had about Clemson. We have got a lot of Clemson Tiger fans who have hit me up on the show. Been like, Rob, why don't you talk more about us? Why don't you talk? Why don't you celebrate us more? Why don't you unfurl the banners and blow the trumpets for us? Why don't you give us the hero's welcome? And I described it last week in a similar way to the parable of the prodigal son. You're doing what's expected, right? And here's how I know that that is not just Rob Brown, but that's just kind of how this game works. Alabama just brought down what I truly believe might, and again, because it is based on subjective metrics, might go down, Lonzo, as the best recruiting class of all time. 9 5-star players.
Has Jimbo commented on it yet?
Not yet. Can't wait
Okay.
till he does. I think Alabama may have just landed what might go down as the best recruiting class of all time. The last class that I said that about was all the way back in 2017. Alabama's recruiting class in 2017 was unbleeping believable. That is the class that Najee Harris came in. You heard of that guy, right? He's still kind of doing big things. Alex Leatherwood was in that class. First round draft pick for the Oakland, now Vegas Raiders. Dylan Moses was in that class. Jerry Jeudy is in that class. Tua Tagovailoa was in that class. Jedrick Wills, Xavier McKinney, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs. Stop me when you hear a name that you don't recognize. All of those guys were in that class. Matt Jones was in that class, right? That was an incredible class. And this class, frankly, top to bottom is better. And I want you to think about something. And if you don't believe me, test it out. Pick your favorite national sports coverage site of choice. ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC. Hell, go to a Cruton site. Go to 24/7. Go to On3, whatever site you use. And I want you to go to their front page. And I want you to tell me how much talk you see about the University of Alabama. Bama went above and beyond what we expect of Bama. And we're still not seeing people talk about it nationally. Do you know why? Is it because it's not worth talking about? No. It's because there's no surprise. That's what Bama does, right? We'd be having the conversation about Bama if they had a 9th or 10th ranked class, like we did last year. Would their class turn in last year? 7, 8, something like that? And what was the conversation about Bama when they turned in a class that got smoked by A&M? Do you remember last year, Cruton time? What was the conversation about it? Is it time for Nick Saban to step down? The conversation amongst Alabama fans was, is it time for us to move on from Nick? Has he lost the edge? He just got out-recruited by Jimbo Fisher. Is it time for... They turned in a class last year that South Carolina fans would have called the greatest class in the history of the Gamecocks. For Bama, it was, is it time for us to take Nick Saban out and find the next guy? When you raise expectations to greatness, then anything less than greatness is the conversation, right? Clemson raised the expectations on campus to greatness. Is there any Clemson fan listening to the show? And this, by the way, is a genuine compliment. Is there any Clemson fan that last year entered the football season with a goal that was less than make it to the college football playoffs. Is there any one of y'all that didn't think the college football playoffs were a realistic expectation and therefore a goal of the program?
It's not a think, it's a believe. It's they believe it's a right that they're going to be there every year, and there's no guarantee it's going to be that
You
way.
can call it whatever you want. It was the goal, right? Whether it was unrealistic
But
or not,
it should be the goal.
playoffs were the goal.
It should be the goal for every team.
There's a difference between an achievable goal and a realistic goal, right? If I come to Lonzo and I go, my goal is to win an Emmy this year, is that reasonable? Maybe.
You're not on anything that you could win an Emmy on, but there's still time.
What do we get? A Marconi?
There you go.
No, you can win an Emmy in radio, can't you?
I don't believe so. I believe it's TV. I hate to dispute.
No, I might be wrong.
I mean,
I don't know how the awards work.
And as far as expectations goes, there was a time where that was an unrealistic expectation for Clemson, for sure. They still felt like that, but they were not getting anywhere near
Grammy.
it.
We can win a Grammy.
Yeah, but I don't think for radio, unless it's recorded, something recorded for Grammys. We can win a South Carolina Broadcasters Association
We should
Star
do that.
Award. We could also win a Marconi,
I'm gonna
but
point to that red jacket like WrestleMania every day.
I think the Marconi you'd have to have some national attention, like, you know, having big name guests on,
We should try that.
being good looking, also having an awesome following on stream, and
2 for 3 for me.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm the total package, dude.
Okay, Lex. So the point I'm driving at here, let me finish up this thought. The point that I'm driving at here is Clemson fans went into last year with the expectation of a playoff. Now, we can argue all day about whether that's they don't deserve to have that expectation or they do. I absolutely believe Clemson fans have a right to expect playoffs. Your team's that good. Your coach has proven he can get you there. You have the facilities. You got the money. You've absolutely got everything in place for Clemson to be a playoff team. And again, as I have pointed out repeatedly, you beat South Carolina at the end of the year, you're in the college football playoff, right? You were a point away from being there. So the expectation is reasonable, understandable, believable, yada, yada, yada. And therefore, because that's the and I really should say it's not even your expectations for yourself. It's what everybody else's expectations of you are, right? It doesn't matter if Clemson Bill thinks that the Tigers should be in the playoffs next year. Rob Brown does, right? Not Clemson guy Rob Brown. Doesn't matter what Gamecock Jenny thinks South Carolina should do next year. Rob Brown thinks they got to get to 9 wins next year. They've got to be 9-3 at the worst next year to prove they've taken a step ahead, right? What the outside expectations are and how they match up with reality is what is going to be talked about. Alabama has set the expectation of setting the expectation, right? Alabama, to use a wrestling catchphrase, we don't set the bar, we are the bar. That's kind of been where they've been for a while. And that means that last year, when Alabama doesn't make the playoff, what did everybody say? What a disaster, right? Alabama lost 2 games in the SEC. 2 games. They were 10-2. Actual disaster in Alabama. They're coming for blood now because 10-2 is just not good enough for Nick Saban. Clemson's the same way. Now, you haven't had the success of Alabama. That's not a shot. You know who else hasn't had the success of Alabama? Literally everybody else. Nobody else has done it. The reason Georgia's a story is because it is the first time in a long time that we have looked at a program and gone, that team might, under Kirby Smart, be able to accomplish the dynastic levels that Nick Saban did at Alabama, right? When you are the bar, when the bar is set high, when you set the bar high yourself, then yes, people expect you to clear that bar, right? It's kind of one of those things where, hey, Rob, you talked about South Carolina's class, they're ranked below us. Why aren't you talking about ours? Because honestly, I expect top 15 classes out of Clemson every year. Every year, I expect them. And it's a good class. It's a real good class. Peter Woods, headliner, 5-star out of Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama. Keep an eye on that guy. Number 33 ranked defensive lineman in the country, third-ranked player at his position specifically. Guy's an absolute baller. Tamarian Parker, guy you got out of Phoenix City, Alabama. By the way, good recruiting outside of South Carolina for Clemson. Tamarian Parker, 4-star defensive lineman out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Goes 6'3", 248. An absolute jackhammer of a human being. A genetic jackhammer of a human being. Tamarian Parker paired up with Peter Woods is terrifying. And oh, by the way, you add Vic Burley out of Warner Robins, Georgia, a place that is known for producing exceptional offensive and defensive line talent. A 6'5", 76-pound defensive lineman. Clemson's defensive line next year is going to be good. The year after that is going to be horrifying. We know about Chris Vizina, a guy that's been in the pocket for a hot minute. 4-star quarterback out of Birmingham. Stefan Green, 6'4", 260-pound defensive lineman out of Rome, Georgia. Another 4-star, Harris Sewell, interior offensive lineman out of Odessa, Texas, where Friday Night Lights comes from. They got a football history. Dabo went in there and got a guy out, right? The class is good, but I expect that from you, right? I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day who was very frustrated in his relationship. He's like, I come home, I do my laundry, I do the dishes, I take out the trash. She doesn't appreciate it. I'm like, dude, does she not appreciate it? Or are you just doing the things you're supposed to be doing, right? You don't get brownie points for doing what you're supposed to be doing. Those things are part of living with another human being. I've had this fight with women I've been with before, right? Taking out the trash is just a thing you have to do when you live in a place. Making dinner is just something you have to do when you live. And then doing the dishes after this, you don't get credit for that. Those are things that are expected of you as an adult. You're not doing them for her. You're doing them because they got to get done, right? Go above and beyond. If you want her to appreciate you, if you want her to appreciate the things you do, go above and beyond. Those are the baseline. Clemson having a top 15 class is the baseline. That's the bare minimum I expect. I expect that out of them. Am I going to celebrate that when that is what and by the way, me expecting that is the compliment to you. The compliment is that I expect that out of you. Did I expect a top 17 class out of South Carolina? No. I didn't expect that. They went above and beyond, so that's why they're the conversation. You guys did what I expected you to do. Expecting you to do that is the compliment, but does it generate a conversation? Is there anybody that is shocked by Clemson's class? Nope. Nope. If you checked in at 25, we'd be talking about you, but it wouldn't be good, right? But you checked in at 15. That's the baseline. I expect you, honestly, to check in a little higher than that. And that is not an insult, ladies and gentlemen. That's the compliment. It's the highest of compliments. Me saying I expect you are good enough that I expect you to be 7, 8 every year is a freaking compliment. You did the expected. You did the minimum. That's fine. It's good enough. But nobody talks about good enough. We talk about who went above and beyond or who failed to be good enough. That's what a conversation's about. Let's take a break. I see Kevin on the line. Kevin, hold that line. I will get you straight out of the gate when we come back. If you would like to get your phone call in, the next segment is your last chance to do it. I got Michael Pius, first tee of the Upstate Executive Director, to end this hour. Then we got Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast to start the next hour. Then we got Fight Club with Lonzo, including a huge announcement at 11:20. Then we'll wrap it up after that. So if you want to get in, Kevin's got dibs. Y'all can line up. 326-3663 is the number, 844-326-3663. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. impact, baby. You know, somebody, one of my favorite things to do is evaluate how little things have huge butterfly impacts in football, right? Like somebody went back to the game that Drew Brees tore his rotator cuff when he was still in San Diego, right? And they actually pointed out the play that set Drew Brees up on that third down play that he got his rotator cuff torn. And they said this loss on the play before that impacted not just NFL history, but the history of college football too, right? Because if that injury doesn't happen, Drew Brees is a long-term quarterback in San Diego. He doesn't get traded to New Orleans. Nick Saban at Miami doesn't pass on Drew Brees in order to bring in, who they bring in? Dante Culpepper? To bring in Dante Culpepper.
Big Dante.
Dante Culpepper goes to Miami. He fails. Nick Saban's experiment fails with the Dolphins. Nick Saban goes to Alabama, builds a dynasty. Sean Payton ends up bringing Drew Brees to New Orleans. The Saints win the Lombardi, all because one guy missed the block in a San Diego whoever game in 2003, 4, whatever year it was. A missed block led to a college football dynasty. A missed block led to a team winning the Lombardi Trophy 6 years later, whatever it was. Those types of things are interesting. So yes, there's a very good chance that the 31-30 victory of South Carolina may long-term be better for Clemson than just making the playoff. It may lead to more playoff bursts down the line.
Man. I got it.
All right, dudes and dudettes, we're back. Thanks for hanging out, y'all.
By the way, I'm not a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer, okay? You guys need to get that straight. Anyone who supposedly acts old, they're not a boomer. Boomers are like nearly 60 now. And I've been pondering the entire time, is Boy George a boy band? Kevin mentioned it because Boy George has a band, but they did, no, it's Culture Club. Never mind.
Come a chameleon. You come and go. All right, we got a couple of minutes for phone calls. If you want to get in, now is pretty much the last opportunity you're going to have today at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663, or text us on the text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, 71307. Texter says, so your excuse for not talking more Clemson in a Clemson market is that we're expected to cook and clean. I do talk Clemson in a Clemson market.
Wait a minute, Clemson market. Who decides that?
We are we're Carolina's market. Carolina is with an S, not just one.
Yeah, there's
By the way, stay tuned for Hurricanes hockey. They're on a big winning streak.
there's another station up the road somewhere that you can go to and spend your time. You go for that.
No, we're going to talk Clemson.
Get your
on the show.
Clemson butt kissed all the time if that's what you want.
We're going to talk Clemson on the show. We always do. I'm just saying you
Absolutely. And we
the
talk
expectations are high.
despite the little cracks that I do, which are at the fans and not at the team is good. It's going to be good again. It could be great. They could be competing to get into the national championship because the ACC is horrible and Clemson is the only shining light in that entire division.
Watch out for FSU.
We'll see.
Kevin has been kind enough to hang on. Let's get him plugged in. Kevin, welcome back to the show, big dog.
Thank you, Rob. Great show, as always. Incredible energy. Love it.
Appreciate you,
I'm
fella.
going to talk Clemson.
Go
I'm
on.
going to talk Clemson.
Go on, young man.
How quickly does Clemson drop completely off the map if Dabo Swinney leaves that program?
We did say that, but
And then how many colleges off the top of your head, if their coach left,
we'll announce it.
they drop off the mat
But
and
thanks
never
for
come
trying.
back to the level they're at? I'll let you talk about it. I know you got a lot going on. Thank you very much for y'all's show.
Kevin,
It's great.
appreciate you, fella. Thank you very much. Thanks for jumping on board.
All right, real quick. People are like, okay, you said 10:30 to give the tickets away. All right, we're going to get
End of this segment.
We're running a little bit late. Okay, so thank you for calling in though, because that means you're ready to win them, and hopefully you'll be the right caller when we give away the Furman basketball
Which isn't
tickets.
quite literally minutes from right now.
Minutes.
Tops. To answer Kevin's question, Kevin said, how quickly would Clemson fall off if Dabo just left, right? If he just bailed. Remember at one point he said when NAL came out, he's like, well, if we're going to play players, I'll just go to the NFL.
You know what we have seen? We have seen the inconsistencies of him raising people within the program to coordinator positions. So could one of those guys move up to head coach and do what Dabo's doing? I don't know.
Let's go with this. If Dabo left tomorrow, might Clemson hire from within? Maybe. But remember,
a
lot of the
tomorrow
concept of hiring from within a Clemson is a Dabo thing, right? That's Dabo's mentality. And there are spots it's worked well and there are spots it hasn't.
Yeah, but he's created an atmosphere that they're probably going to want to try to continue.
Maybe.
So the first hire after he leaves, I'd be willing to guarantee you it'll be someone within the program.
I would not. And here's why. What Dabo has built at Clemson is a program that, yes, would be one of, if not the most desirable job that would be available at that rank. Clemson, it wouldn't matter that there are maybe 5 to 7 other schools that if their job came open at the same time would be more desirable, right?
And some of that has to do with area too, because
Sure.
not everybody wants to live in a smaller town and do that whole thing. So there's some people who are just city. That's what they are.
I mean, if you're a college football coach, you want to live in the spot that's going to give you the best chance to be a champ, right? Clemson has set that up. I have been to that facility. It is one of the nicest facilities I've been to, and I've been to a lot. It has got absolutely everything you need to be successful, and we know that as a fact because it has been that for a very long time now in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, even in the last couple of years, it was still successful. I know you
Again.
lost a couple games, but it's still successful.
1 point away from a playoff berth last year, right? Clemson has everything that a college football program needs to be championship caliber. You've got the facilities, you've got the boosters and the fans. You've obviously got the recruiting pipeline that you could work on building yourself into as a new head coach. If Dabo Swinney, Leonard Skinnerded Clemson and left here tomorrow, Would they still remember him? Yes. But it would not be, we're going to hire one of our own guys because that's what we do. They would be inundated with the best available coaches being interested.
All right, so I disagree with you.
What makes them anything less than ultimately appealing?
But chances are we're not going to have this actual conversation for a while because Dabo's not going anywhere. He is a football god. It's a wrestling thing. I'm not being sacrilegious. At Clemson, why would he go anywhere? The only place he's going to go is home when he finally decides to go home. Right now, they're bringing somebody up from the organization. They absolutely will because they don't want to kill the atmosphere that they've had, which has been a winning tradition for a really long time.
That's fine. They don't want to run the risk of having a Brandon Streeter situation, but as the head coach. I don't know what Clemson does. I don't know if they hire from within. I don't know. I know what they can do. I know what they can do is say, hey, we're available, and every top-tier coaching candidate will be interested.
Here's what they do. They bring back Brent Venables and make him head coach.
After what he just did at Oklahoma?
Won't matter.
I don't know. Look, I don't know. And again, I don't know if Venables would leave Oklahoma. These are all hypotheticals for down the road, right? These are all hypotheticals for down the road because, no, I don't think Dabo's going anywhere. I don't think Dabo's an NFL guy. I think Dabo knows, and I am willing to believe that I don't think Dabo would make a good NFL head coach. That's not an insult. Neither did Nick Saban. Neither did Steve Spurrier. Both legends.
Why would you leave that unless you're done coaching?
Correct.
Why would you leave?
Dabo has built Clemson in his image and the way he sees that program running, and that's fine. Doesn't mean they would stay that way. Doesn't mean they would change. I don't know the answer. The point is, would Clemson just suddenly fall off? It would depend on the hire, right? It would depend on the hire. What I can tell you is they would have the opportunity to hire whoever the hell they wanted. It would be, unless like Harbaugh left Michigan and Day lost to Michigan and they fired him and Saban retired all at the same time, Clemson would be one of, at worst, the top 2 available program openings. South Carolina is not that way yet, right? If tomorrow Shane got a call to go be the coach at Virginia Tech and he decided, yeah, I want to go coach where my dad coached and left, South Carolina would be in a world of hurt because they ain't on that level. Clemson is that level.
And there aren't that many teams that are on that level. I mean, there's a handful of teams where people go, I don't care about that. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm going there. And then there's a level below that. And you're right. South Carolina's not there yet. Hopefully they will be someday.
All right, let's do this. We got Michael Pius, executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate, coming up in the next segment. Then we got Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast, batting leadoff in the third hour of the show. Then we got Fight Club with Lonzo after that. And then we wrap this show up. So before we do any of that, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a family 4-pack of tickets to this weekend's Furman basketball doubleheader set to take place downtown at the Well on Saturday. It is going to be a tremendous day. And if you would like to go, now is your opportunity to get yourself set up for tickets. Caller number.
All right. Someone mentioned the Beatles earlier on the stream. So caller number 9.
Wow.
Number 9.
Wow.
Number 9.
Caller number 9.
I'm guessing you don't get the reference, but that's fine.
Caller number 9.
There's a song on Beatles where they just say number 9. Number 9 over and over again.
I should know. I'm a Beatles guy.
Yeah, it's. I believe it. I believe
in their psychedelic face.
I believe if you backmask it, it has some messages, if I recall, on purpose.
I'll go look it up. I don't know. I should know. I'm not. But I will also acknowledge that I much more get down with the early pop Beatles, the bubblegum Beatles, than I do with the psychedelic Beatles. That's just me. Anyway, caller number 9 right now.
Picture yourself on the boat on the river.
And Marmalade Sky. All right, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. Caller number 9 is winning a family 4-pack to this weekend's Furman basketball doubleheader. Men's game going to be at 6. Women's game before that at 3. It is a celebration of women in sports before the women's game, and then the men's game tips off after that. Caller number 9 right now, 844-326-3663. Michael Pius joins us on the backside. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, taking off for a minute so we can give some tickets and get Mike lined up. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, dudes and dudettes, we are back. Congratulations to Tiger Pal Rachel picking up the dub on the Furman Ticks.
All right, come on. Let me back in. Stupid thing. I apologize for yelling on the stream. Should have remembered that I was right by them, by the, but you're used to it by now.
It's Lonzo's temper tantrum.
From that side. And yes, Kevin, I guess the Beach Boys was a boy band. They were all like boys when they started it.
I would just say they're a band.
I am,
because by that definition, AC/DC is a boy band.
Well, that's true.
And they're definitely not.
So
boy band is contingent on singing and dancing.
When did the buzzword boy band come about? I mean, because really technically they're a vocal group. I mean, because they're not playing instruments, so they're a vocal group. See, the Jackson 5, Stephen, a good some of them played instruments. I think I'm pretty sure Tito did because that's all he could do. But you know,
Poor Tito. No respect for Tito.
I think Tito might have actually played bass. Don't look that up now. It's not important, but it is to me.
The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob Brown. The great Lonzo is on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. We are now joined by a young man I have gotten the pleasure to get to know both on the air and off of it. He is the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate, a charitable organization that I have been working with for many years down in Pensacola, Destin, First Tee of the Emerald Coast, and now have the pleasure of doing so right up here in the Upstate. Mr. Michael Pius joins us here on the show. Mike, what's up, big fella? How we doing?
Hey, Rob. Thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Always happy to do it. And obviously very happy to do it because not only are we able to take a few minutes to help better the lives of some youth around the Upstate through the incredible game of golf, unless it's Saturday after my 11 o'clock tee time, in which I hate that stupid game. But all the other times I love it. But we've got the opportunity to better some lives of youth in the Upstate and maybe send a listener or two of the Rob Brown Show off to play a couple of pretty spectacular rounds of golf.
Yeah. This is the time of year that we roll out our golf trip raffle that we do every year out to Pebble Beach. It's quite a trip, but yeah, we're also right in the middle, right at the start of our spring programming. Registration just opened on Monday. We had a record number of kids that registered. We have about 300 spots available at 11 locations, all the way from Seneca to Greenwood to Gaffney and everywhere in between. And for those listeners that don't know exactly what we do, they probably have seen our logo on maybe commercials while they're clicking around watching some PGA Tour events. But we are a youth development program. First and foremost, we're teaching life skills to kids and through the game of golf. So those skills that you learn out on the golf course, when you get into a bad situation out on the golf course, it's something that's going to teach you a skill that you're going to be able to carry on to home or to school. And that's what we all are all about, is kind of just developing and building that strength of character inside of all of our youth. Giving them the opportunity for kids that wouldn't typically have access to the game too is at the heart of our mission. And that really, really increased last year. We had a record number of kids requesting financial aid to be a part of our program. We had a record number of girls in our program, so we're diversifying the game, which is great. Record number of non-Caucasians joining our program. And so it's everything is looking up, and a golf trip raffle to Pebble Beach, really helps us raise some funds.
It's very interesting. Golf has, and I've told this story many times. Back when I worked at my old spot, Mike, I remember hitting the driving range around the corner from the studio one day at kind of the height of Tiger Woods' popularity when he made a golf video game the best-selling game of all time. And I remember hitting a driving range and was blown away by the number of young people that I saw playing, which was not something that I experienced in the past. And that community has never gone away. And now you guys use that to kind of open the doors of this game, a game which, if we're being honest, can be very difficult to access as a youngster unless you grow up in a family that's just made of golfers. You guys are opening the door not just to the sport itself, but to the life lessons that it teaches in the process.
Sure. Yeah. That's what we're all about is creating that mentor relationship with our trained coaches that are teaching our life skills and these golf skills. We've got some really good golfers coming out of our program. Some of the ladies made it to the state tournament this past year that are in our program, and we've got some great kids coming up golf skill wise. But really, what's great to see is some of these kids, get in front of some of our donors at some of our events and be able to speak to what it means to be in this program. And then our coaches and our volunteers are fantastic, and we're always looking for more volunteers. So that's another opportunity for your listeners is, it's not always about, raising the funds, but it's also just raising awareness about what we do. And a lot of the feedback that we get from our volunteers and our coaches is they get more out of this program than they feel like the kids get out of it. They feel so empowered and pumped up to be, teaching these life skills to these kids during these activities, and being outside and enjoying the outside and the outdoors, going and walking 9 holes. Again, just kind of breaking down those barriers that may be up for some typical kids that wouldn't have access to it. We've partnered with other nonprofits like Youth on Course that offers $5 rounds of golf for youth. And we provide a free membership through our First Tee program for that. And then all they have to do is call up the golf courses that are partnered with Youth on Course and pay that $5 when they show up, which is great. So, we do so much in our program. I'd take up multiple segments to talk about all this stuff, but our girls golf program, our L's for Autism program, we have PGA Junior League, which is kind of like Little League baseball for golf. We've got a lot of great activities. We've also, every kid that registers for our program gets Op36 technology and an app that goes along with it. So the ultimate goal is to shoot 36, from 25 yards out, and then move to 50, and then to 100, and keep moving further and further away from the hole, shooting 36 each time. It is going to build up their confidence on the course and off the course. So there's so many things that we do, but again, we couldn't do this without the support of your listeners. And hey, why not put $100 down or a couple $100 down, buy a few tickets, and go out to Pebble Beach for that once in a lifetime trip.
And yes, by the way, if someone from the show wins, yes, I absolutely will join you. It would be my honor. It feels only right. Michael Pius, Executive Director of First Tee of the Upstate, joining us here on the program. We got another minute or two, Michael, for the folks who are interested and want to help out and potentially get themselves what I genuinely believe would be the golf trip of a lifetime. The only way to do better would to make the daggum tour. Where can they do that?
Yeah, firstteeupstate.org or all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, we're all on there, and you'll see posts about the golf trip raffle there. Also right on the main page, firstteeupstate.org. The tickets are $100 each, and the raffle drawing will be Wednesday, March 1st. So we're about a month away. Grand prize includes 3 rounds of golf for 4 golfers, Pebble Beach, Spyglass, TPC Harding Park. The guys that went out last year, a guy won from Spartanburg. They flew out to San Francisco, stayed a night in San Francisco, played TPC Harding Park, then drove the PCH down to Monterey, played their 2 rounds, and then, flew back out of San Francisco. We give you 3 nights hotel accommodations at the lodge at Pebble Beach. You're literally rolling out of bed right onto the 18th hole, which is awesome. And then up to $2,000 in air transportation. We also have second place prizes. We have 2 foursomes at the Carolina Country Club and Cross Creek out in Seneca. And then our third place prize is a swing evaluation and 5 lessons at Golf Tech in Greenville. So we're only selling 500 tickets. So great odds. Again, you can go on our website, firstteeupstate.org, and it's /2023 golf trip if you want to go directly to the page. But again, I recommend you just clicking on our page, learning a little more about us if you don't know. And, if you're looking to volunteer, we'd love to volunteer. If you want to come out to any other of the fundraisers that we have, we'd love to see your listeners out there.
100%. We have done the Links at Fluor Field twice. That has been incredible. There are also other events that go on through the year, but this one is the one you're going to win in on. Your opportunity to take a couple of swings at Pebble Beach Spyglass, a phenomenal trip. Michael Pius is the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate. Mike, you are a legend, buddy. I appreciate it, and looking very much forward to seeing you soon, pal.
And appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
You got it, man. That is Michael Pius, executive director, First Tee of the Upstate. Make sure you check them out on their Facebook page, on their Twitter. You can also join them on their website as well. Get more details. Get yourself entered for the chance to win a golf trip of a lifetime. When we come back, Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, talks Carolina football on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Don't make me make my eyes bigger.
Jason Tatum led Baltimore 31 points, 26 from Jaylen Brown. DeJounte Murray and Trae Young combined for 41 points, 20 assists as the Hawks beat Phoenix 132-100. And the Mike Sabonis with a season-high 34, and the Kings 119-109 win in San Antonio. The Pelicans will try to get to Dallas today, play the Mavs tonight. They've been waiting in Denver for the Dallas airport to reopen after nasty winter weather. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn has his second interview for the Colts today. Men's top 25 action last night with Tennessee losing at Florida 67-54. The Carolina Hurricanes pushed their win streak to 7, a 5-1 victory in Buffalo. I'm Andrew Bowden.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why hiring employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
You know, if someone gets in the way of me when I'm heading down that hallway like that,
Helmet sticker.
yeah, it's come close a couple of times. Someone's go. I mean, it's not going to be like a little stumble.
That's a pancake.
Yeah,
son.
you're heading down the hallway a little bit.
That's how you wear new contracts. Rashad, what's up, young man?
What's up? What's up, guys?
How we doing?
I'm good. Good.
We were wondering if you were gonna come on with them big old man glasses.
Yeah, no, I did get my eyes dilated, so I can't see. I'm looking at the
Awesome.
computer, I can't see
Awesome.
shit. Yeah. It's coming back a little bit, but I can't see anything right now.
Let's see if it looks like Rashad the Demon.
Yeah. Big eyes.
Yeah. It's so weird what eyes really look like when they're dilated like that. Some people look more evil than others. I haven't seen Rob that way, but I'm sure it's like
an absolute angel.
Pagan! You gonna bring Rashad into our argument yesterday and see if he takes your side of mine?
Sure
I
am.
knew you were gonna do that. I knew
Sure
it.
am.
I like
knew it.
these. I like these situations, man. These are great.
Sure am.
I just want to say the percentages is in my favor, I believe. Not that I'm keeping track or anything.
I don't think you're wrong, but it don't make me wrong.
That's funny.
There is, I think the one thing is we'll see what Rashad says about it, but he and I are coming at it from a fan perspective. You're not, because you're technically the enemy.
My job ain't to be a fan. My job is to be an analyst, and I'm good at it, son.
Uh-oh.
I said what I said.
You know, there's a reason why podcasts do so well now, because people want to hear what real people are saying, not the contrived analyst stuff.
Ain't nothing contrived.
I'm just saying, you know, not the we were taught in school that I say this
Hey,
way.
you're not liking the take. Don't make it a bad take.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does.
All right, here we go, boys and girls.
And no, Milli Vanilli was not a boy band because they were adults.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rod. On the other side of the metaphorical glass today, the great one Lonzo is in charge of everything on this radio station. And now, we welcome to the stream. It's Thursday. You know we talk Panther football on a Thursday. Now, ordinarily, we have this young man join us earlier in the show, but he was off getting the old peepers checked, making sure he's not falling apart. Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast, which you can follow on Twitter at Panther Nation PC, or you can make sure you are subscribed to them on YouTube, where they go live like all the time to talk Panther football. Shad, what's up, big dog?
What's up, guys? Love to be on the show, man. Let's get it. Let's talk.
I like it. Let's get into it. Let's jump into the conversation that Lonzo and I had yesterday. We replayed some sound from the Frank Reich introductory presser. Before we get to the take, what was your takeaway? Did you come out of Frank Reich's presser feeling good? Did he let you down? Was it pretty much, hey, I'm just ready to get to work? Like, what was your takeaway from Frank Reich's 39 minutes in front of the podium?
Nah, I loved what I heard. I heard more X's and O's in his press conference than I heard all of Matt Rule's tenure. So I appreciate him talking good football and setting the vision. A lot of good things. One thing I've heard consistently with Frank Reich is innovation. Like he said it. I've heard other people say it about Frank Reich, the innovator of offenses. So I like that. I like that he also took responsibility for what the Colts situation. He said, "Hey, look, it was on me." We've seen a lot of guys recently deflect and blame others, but he took it. Took responsibility for the Colts. A lot of good things, man. I like the principles that he talked about. Including the fans. He understands what keep pounding means. That's important for us. So I love it. I love that he talks about where the game is going. It's a passing league, but you got to be able to run the football. So I loved it. I love what I heard from Frank Reich, and it got me excited for sure. Was there anything that he said that you didn't want to hear? Was there anything he didn't say that you did? No. I didn't expect, and people were talking about this whole turf situation and him not being able to hear the question. So I mean, that's not really his job. So I really don't really care about what he said with the turf. I wish I would have heard was a little bit more on what he wants to do with the quarterback. He did drop a couple of inklings regarding drafting a quarterback versus bringing one in. But I wanted to hear him talk about maybe what he thought about Matt Corral or what he thought about Sam Darnold. And I know Sam Darnold is under contract right now, but I would have liked to hear a little bit more about what he wanted to see. I mean, he kind of touched on a little bit about what he wants to see in a quarterback. But I just would like to hear a little bit more of his vision there.
So here was my takeaway from it. And I will acknowledge, Rashad, that this conversation is coming from a media dude more than a fan. Here's what I didn't like. Frank Reich got asked a couple of different times and in different phrases, what do you think's been wrong with this team? Like, what are the problems with this team and how would you fix them? Like, what's your vision to fix the issues and what are those issues? And he never really addressed that. And to me, the only way to get better is to fix what's broken, right? Like if my car's got a flat tire, there's no sense in me going out there and sticking a new muffler on it. I got to fix what's broken. Then once everything's fixed, I can start continuing to shine it up a little bit more. I would have loved to have heard Frank Reich, and I'm not saying he's got to call out individual players, doesn't have to say Matt Rule's a bad coach, Steve Wilkes just wasn't good enough, whatever, but just overall, what has been going wrong for the last couple of years with Carolina, and what is your plan to address those things? I'd have felt a little bit better about that, but it was all cheerleader. It was all rah-rah, everything's great. And that's not a realistic approach for a dude who's coming in to take over a program that has won more than 5 games once in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't expect the man to come in and be able to assess the entire, like he just got there, right? First of all. So like, I understand, yes, he probably knows what the problems are, but he's not going to publicly like say, hey, you sitting right there on the front row, because the players were there. You're the problem. So he's not gonna do that. I think he has some ideas, and I would push back a little bit, to be honest, and I would say, hey, the coaches were the problem. You see, we got Wilkes in here, and he flipped it around and got us 6-6. So him, I think, and he did kind of address this, talking about, hey, who I intend to bring in. We want to build the best, coordination staff there is, and so I think that is the biggest issue. If you fix bringing in the coordination, bringing in the best offensive coordinator, the best defense coordinator, which they tried to do with Vic Fangio, right? They tried to offer him to be the highest paid defensive coordinator. They tried to do that. And so when I see that, I say, hey, that's effort. That's going in the right direction, in my opinion. Now, what are we going to do with offensive coordinator? Are you going to call plays? They asked him that, right? And I think that him calling plays, one thing I did like that I heard from him was that, hey, he called out the trends, right? Hey, the trend is, although I've called plays my entire career, the trend is that I'm gonna hand it over and let our offensive coordinator do that. That's what I like to hear, because you're actually paying attention to what's going on across the league. So I like what I heard from him, and we got to give him some time to let him build out. I don't think he knows what's going on just yet. I don't think he really, until he can get his coordinators in here to help him out. I think then we'll get a better plan, personally.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us every Thursday to talk a little bit of Carolina Panther football. He did mention at one point, well, let me start with something else that you mentioned there. You mentioned there were players there, and I will tell you the thing that I started the segment off with yesterday that I very much appreciated out of Frank Reich. Tep calls him up, intros him, gives him the podium. Reich kind of went off the path to go over and shake the hand of every single player, talk to every single player that was there. And I've seen a couple of his eyes putting on a show or whatever, and maybe it is. But the fact that I have seen these pressers happen 100 times, and that is the first time off the top of my head that I can recall that a coach spent as much time saying, it's about these guys. These are the stars. These are the guy that sells tickets. These are the guys that have to make plays. These are the guys that put their body on the line. They have a voice. We are going to collaborate with them. He did say, it ain't a democracy. It's still my decision, but I will make my decision with them in mind. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear what they want to do. I want their input. The fact that he leans so heavily on, I want to make sure that the players recognize that they are the stars, the producers of this game, and I'm just there to streamline everything. Man, if I'm a Panther player, I got to appreciate that, right?
No, yeah, I think that was great. And I also appreciate, because that's a tough situation for him to be in. I appreciate him saying, hey, listen, I still got to run the ship. Like, you guys have to listen to what I'm saying and follow my lead. Now, you all, again, the power is in, you have to execute. You have to have the accelerated vision. You have to have the footwork. You have to have playmakers. You have to have the X factor. He talked about all that stuff, but at the same time, listen, I run the show. And so listen, it goes back to Steve Wilks, right? And they all wanted Steve Wilks. It's not his fault he got hired. And so you put him in a really awkward situation for all the guys that went on record for Wilks. And now they may feel some type of way. He said it as best. He said it way better than I could, because that's exactly what I said. Listen, the players can't run the ship. If you let them make the decisions, they can't. They're not paid to make those type of decisions. They're making emotional decisions. At the end of the day, I have to do what's best for the Carolina Panthers organization. I look at this from a different level, and so I appreciate him going to that level of detail, because that's a tough situation to be in.
Rashad Beard joining us here on the show. And, the second part was that stuck out to me. And listen, a lot of it was stuff you expected, right? Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I love the fact that he mentioned that, his kids still live in Charlotte, that he has made Charlotte his home whenever he's not actively coaching. I like that he made it clear he wants to be there. But the thing that stuck out to me predominantly was when you talk about the play calling, they said, are you going to call the plays? And he said, look, we're going to go get the coordinators we can get. We're going to get the best team we can get. I'm not trying to bring my buddies or my friends. I want to get the best coordinators I can get. If we get a guy that comes in here, it's got a good mind on him, sees the offense, knows how to call the plays, I will gladly hand the duties over. And if I feel like me calling the play calls, I've had success with that, is the best way to do it, then I'll call the plays. But he kind of kept hitting on, this isn't about the things that I want to do or not want to do. This is about doing the things necessary to make the team as good as it can be. I appreciated that moment out of Frank Reich in saying, if I'm the best play caller on the team, I'm calling the plays. And if we get somebody in here who sees the offense better than I do, then I'll hand it off. That willingness to say that, and more importantly, do that, I think is big for Carolina.
Yeah, I think he's got to bring the philosophy, right? He says, hey, this is the idea. This is what we're going to do based on and I think flexibility is what you're describing. Being able, because not, again, you get a quarterback. Let's say we draft a CJ Stroud or whatnot. His strengths fit to a certain skill set, right? You have to be able to build the offense and be flexible. Trying to take these guys and putting them in a certain box and making them do certain things they're not comfortable with doing ends up making these guys fail. And so I think what you're describing is exactly what I want in my head coach: flexibility. I'm going to bend the offense to make it work for the guys I have. And if it doesn't work, hey, I'm maybe not the right guy to call the plays. And that's okay. Being willing to do that is what I want out of my head coach. Another thing that he said that I really like, and it just came to my brain, was that he said the playoffs is the floor. I almost shed a tear when he said that, because that's what I've been saying. Listen, we get in this, Carolina Panthers fans, and I said this I think last week, is that we're just so thirsty for a little bit of success that we're just willing to accept whatever. Like, mediocrity for the Carolina Panthers fans is what we've seen. That's not acceptable anymore. Listen, the playoffs that's the full. That's what we want to be at the worst, is a playoff team. The ultimate goal is championships, and I appreciate that, and I'm hoping. And from what I've seen so far from Tepper and Scott Fitterer and Reich so far, is that the moves that they're making lend towards that, right? It's not just about being a mediocre team and winning the division every now and that's okay. The playoffs is the floor. Let's get there every year, and then obviously the championships is the ultimate goal. So I like what I'm hearing out of Frank.
Rashad Beard, Panther Nation Podcast, joins us every Thursday, usually ordinarily earlier in the show, but we're happy to talk Panther football whenever we can. I was also very interested in the fallout, the discussion that David Tepper has had over the past week, right? He said that the hiring process to bring in Matt Rule was flawed and that it was run the wrong way, right? And it's one of those things that for us as fans, the guys that didn't have to sign that contract or make that choice or pick that guy, it's real easy to beat up on the dude that did, right? And go, how bad do you have to be to not see that wasn't going to work out, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact that Tepper owned it, as opposed to going, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. At the end of the day, it was just time for the program. But the fact for him to say the process was bad, the hire was bad, and we've got to do better. I've ripped on David Tepper a lot, and I got news for you. I probably will continue to do so. But I appreciate an owner who comes out and owns it and goes, I screwed up, and I see that I screwed up, because it tells me he's taking a step forward and learning the game more. Did you hear that? Did you respond to it the way that I did?
Yeah, I have the same viewpoint, and I'm with you. That probably won't be the last time I rag on David Tepper. I mean, I've complained a lot about what he's done. And I'm still going to complain until we get a grass field again. However, I must admit, he is a billionaire, right? He doesn't have to come up here and say, "Hey guys, I made a mistake." Like he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't owe. He doesn't owe the fans that. I mean, realistically, he can do whatever he wants. He's a billionaire, and to have that level of understanding that and enough compassion to say, "Hey, listen, I hear you guys. I made a mistake. Hiring a CEO style coach was not the right thing for me to do." It took a lot for him to do that. He didn't have to do that, and so I appreciate him doing that. And hopefully from here on out, like I said, it's actions. Actions speak louder than words. And right now, he's doing that. He's following up with his action. He hired an offensive-minded coach, something he said he wanted to do a long time ago. Right now, he's starting to actually follow up on some of this stuff. So I appreciate him apologizing and essentially saying, "Hey, I made a mistake." That's big for me.
All right, last one. We are waiting to find out who the coordinators are going to be. There's a very interesting situation that started developing yesterday with former South Carolina Gamecock turned Philadelphia Eagle Deuce Staley, who has left Detroit to come down and join the staff. Now, my initial reaction was traditionally, if you hire an assistant away from another team, you have to elevate them. You have to promote them. They cannot make a lateral move. But then we found out that Deuce Staley actually asked the Detroit Lions for permission to leave and go to Carolina. So I think the gut reaction was, oh, Deuce Staley's the OC, a guy that's got a lot of fire, a lot of intensity. He's a player's coach, no doubt about it, but he's got a good eye for the game. Then we find out that he actually left Detroit to come over, and they gave him permission because his mother is sick. She lives in the Carolinas. He wants to be close to her. And obviously, his sister coaching over at South Carolina. Now that family's kind of closer together. Is Deuce Staley the OC, or do you think we're going to hear another name start to trickle out in the next couple of days? And if so, is Deuce a good pick for that spot?
I think Deuce is interesting at OC. I think, again, coming from that Lions system that was successful. So listen, I like picking and taking guys from successful teams. And if he wants to bring that juice, that Lions juice, that even though, their defense wasn't that good when we ran 500 yards on them that during that week.
He's a running backs coach, dog. He wasn't coaching me.
Exactly. He's not that. He doesn't coach that side of the football. So that doesn't have anything to do with him. So listen, I'm all for Deuce. I don't know that he's going to be the OC. I heard the same thing that you heard. Mother's sick, wants to be closer to home. I have heard that we're going to look to interview Jim Bob Cooter, who is the pass game coordinator from Jacksonville. So keep an eye on that. I do not know who's going to be the OC. I don't really. I also heard that maybe we're looking at. I think Brian Johnson out of or Ben Johnson. I can't remember which one it is. I get the names confused. But from the Philadelphia Eagles, the quarterbacks coach from the Philadelphia Eagles. That's another name to keep an eye on. Maybe why it hasn't been announced yet. He can't officially, become an interview as offensive coordinator until the Super Bowl is over with. So I don't know. I have no idea who the offensive coordinator is. But if it is Deuce, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it one bit.
All right, I got to jump in here real quick. Rashad is the only person I've ever heard say Jim Bob Cooter, and it sounded cool. He's the only one I've ever heard say that. Anybody else, we're going to put some twang on it or something. It sounded cool.
That's Jim Bob Cooter.
Jim Bob Cooter. Rashad says it sounds cool.
That's a tough one to
by the way, I agree with you, but I'll also say this. If that's the pick, a guy that Carolina's requested the interview for, if that turns out to be the pick, I don't hate it, right? This dude took Trevor Lawrence, a guy who had his rookie year absolutely ruined by the worst coach in the history of the National Football League, Urban Meyer. He brought him back this year, and all they did was take TL16 to a new height and win the AFC South. Now, granted, passing game coordinator, not offensive coordinator, but if Jim Bob Cooter is the guy, not only am I on board with it and his ability to expand in offense as he showed in Jacksonville, but can you imagine us popping the interview, ladies and gentlemen, making his fan upstate debut, the OC of the Panthers, Jim Bob Cooter, baby! Incredible.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear it. Now I want him.
That's right.
I want to hear that.
That's
real
right.
quick, I will add though, he had a stint with the Lions as OC as well. Did a really good job with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had a career season with him, 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 99.3 passer rating. So he's had some success in the NFL, and that's what I like to see. So I'm not mad at Jim Bob Cooter either. I love the offensive staff that they're building. It having Deuce in some way, shape, or form, and capacity. That dude Deuce has some juice. If you watch him, the Hard Knocks, you see him. There's Twitter clips floating around. Go look at him. I like that kind of energy. I want all that in Carolina.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Rashad, go ahead and trademark Deuce Got Juice, because if that's the guy, you just printed the first T-shirt. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us every Thursday to talk Carolina football. My guy, good to have you back, buddy. We'll talk to you next week, and we might have a couple of names.
Hey, Jim Bob, I got to hear it now.
Jim Bob Cooter, baby! Here for it. Rashad, talk to you next week, my dude.
All right, guys. Appreciate you.
You got it. That is Rashad Beard. Make sure that you follow the Panther Nation podcast on Twitter.
You can't say Cooter without
Jim Bob Cooter.
No, Cooter. You put serious twang on Cooter.
I can't not do it. His name is Jim Bob Cooter.
I know.
How was you supposed to say it?
Well, because I think you revert back to Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard. You can't help it.
The Carolina Panthers, Mr. Jim Bob Cooter.
Even then,
I
you
can't
still
not
got
do it.
you got twang in there.
I can't not do it. What do you want? Panther Nation Podcast is on Twitter, Panther Nation PC, but make sure you search and subscribe to them on their YouTube channel. They go live like a lot of the time. Rashad, David Rhodes, it is tremendous stuff if you're a Cats fan. We are back after this. It's Thursday. You know what that means. Fight Club! We're talking pro wrestling, MMA, and boxing with Lonzo when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Appreciate you, big dog. All right. All right.
And Rashad just stayed on to laugh about the Cooter thing. He did that, though. It was smooth. He said Cooter, and it was just like, I can't do it either. I can't say Cooter without. No, I'm good. I'm here. We're good. But every time I hear Jim Bob Cooter, I hear Roscoe P. Coltrane laughing afterwards. So there's that. You guys probably don't even know about the Dukes of Hazzard. So, I mean, you know. So I went back and looked at the boy band thing, and there's varying history on when it actually started. Some are saying the Beatles. I don't consider that. But boy band denotes vocal group, not actually playing the instruments, and the Beatles all played. So. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Bob Cooter. No, it's still, I mean, because it's going to be a totally different, you know, I hope he is the offensive coordinator because we have a lot of fun with that. And he's pretty good. Yeah, and Menudo, they had an age limit, if I recall. Once you hit 18, you were out, I'm pretty sure. Rob's down the hall right now jamming to some boy band stuff. Stop it, Kevin. Hey, we got a big announcement coming up in just a couple minutes. Yeah, Ricky Martin, but then things kind of went sideways. I think he's in prison now.
Ricky Martin?
Yeah,
singer?
yeah, for some yeah.
Really?
I mean, I'm not going to talk about it, but you can look it up if you want. We were talking about Menudo. I know there were accusations about something, and I thought that he was found guilty on it, but
Nothing about it on his Wikipedia page.
dude,
It would 100% would
no.
be there.
Why not look up Ricky Martin arrested? Let's do going directly to Wikipedia.
Because if it's on Wikipedia, it's true.
No.
He was arrested, but not never charged.
Okay. No, it was a big deal for just a little bit.
My man Cocky for a reason is asking me for walk-up music at WWE tomorrow. I'm like, you think if I can put in a walk-in song, I'm putting it in for you, not me? Are you kidding me?
Plus, you're not going to have anything to do with walk-up
Right.
music tomorrow. I mean,
Correct. And again, if I did,
dude, play it on your phone. I mean, just play your own walk-up music on your phone. I mean, it's not going to be out of place. It's not. There'll be some people there who think it's pretty funny.
also the walk-up song is Cowboys from Hell by Pantera.
No, my walk-up music tomorrow will be the woo. So anytime you hear people in the arena wooing, that's my walk-up music.
Just the woo.
Yes, just
over
a
and
woo.
over.
Just a woo over and over again. Yes. Yeah, that's for me. It's not for anybody else. That's for me.
Take this segment as long as you want. I don't care.
Yeah, we still have time restraints.
Oh, I know.
Because, yeah.
But take this segment as long as you want.
Yeah, okay.
We got all the stuff.
Yeah, okay.
20-minute segment.
Yeah, okay. Welcome into the Fight Club, where we come at you like a Gunther slap. You all right? You good? You good? You all right?
I don't mean to ruin the
chop.
momentum of your segment.
Gunther
out of the
chop.
gate,
Yeah. I mean, I had a big announcement and everything to
we're
make,
coming
and
to
now
that.
you're. Oh,
Come to that.
gosh.
This is worth it. This is worth it.
I hope so. We'll see.
This is worth it. So today is Groundhog Day, which we haven't even referenced yet. Puxatawny Phil.
Yeah, I had it on Twitter trending topics. Now I'll just have to take it off.
That's fine. It's Groundhog Day. And obviously Puxatawny Phil, the legendary groundhog.
Saw a shadow.
Puxatawny, I don't know or care.
Yeah, he saw a shadow.
Okay, great. 6 more weeks, whatever it is.
Wow, you see that outside? We're getting 6 more weeks of that.
Yeah.
Because it rains for winter in South Carolina.
I'm about to
Thank goodness.
elevate the game.
Ooh.
I did not know
Did
this.
someone kill and fry up
No.
Puxatawny Phil?
No. In New Orleans, they've decided to go one step further. In New Orleans, there is a big rodent called the nutria. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Wait a minute. A big rodent.
It's a big rodent.
So it's
like a giant rat beaver.
It's a giant rat beaver.
NUTRIA. Feel free to look it up.
Is
Nutria.
it like a mole rat?
Like a real big one.
I mean, from Fallout.
Kinda.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a real big one.
Okay.
All right. In New Orleans, they have a nutria that they bring out to see if it sees its sun shadow on the ground. The name of that, Lonzo, is Pierre C. Shadow. Pierre C. Shadow.
So you interrupted my big announcement
Pierre C.
for
Shadow.
Pierre C. Shadow. Really. So I was in my build up, got all that stuff. Going to drop some knowledge.
Pierre
some
C.
knowledge.
Shadow.
Pierre C. His face is turning red. His face is absolutely turning
That's
red.
incredible. Anyway, for the second funnest thing we're going to say in this segment.
I beg to differ on that one. And if you're going to say Pierre C. Shadow, you got to do it in a French accent, don't you?
Pierre C. Shadow.
Or is that Cajun enough? You got to do a Cajun?
That's just French with a twang.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. So, all right. Big announcement. Not as big as Pierre C. Shadow. I started off talking about Gunther. The Ring General. I can't do it, man.
No, you shouldn't do that.
No, I'm going to ask him to teach me how to do that.
Ask him? How are you going to ask him?
I'm going to ask him to teach me because.
How are you going to ask him? Do you know him?
Because he's going to be live in studio tomorrow, right here on this very program at 10:45. Yes.
10:45 a.m. We will be joined in studio by your reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Intercontinental Champion, Gunther.
Now, we don't know the legality. There's some legality to this, and I don't know if he's allowed to, but someone in this room wants to be chopped.
Nope, that is not what I said.
Oh, you changed your mind?
No, that is not what I said. What I said was, do I ask to take a chop?
Okay.
From Gunther.
All right. So if you ask a coworker, hey, should I ask this? Doesn't that mean you're thinking about asking
I am
it?
absolutely thinking about it. I am not acknowledging that I'm not thinking about it. However, last night, because I was bored, I decided to go back and watch the Rumble again.
No, because you were working and doing research
because
on
I was
our guest.
show prepping.
There we go.
I decided to go back and watch the Rumble because our guest tomorrow, WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther, set the record for longest stretch of time in a Royal Rumble match.
Started out at number 1.
Started out at 1 and was the last man eliminated by Cody Rhodes in his way to a Royal Rumble victory in a main event at WrestleMania. So I went back to watch it, and there's a spot about halfway through where he gave a chop, and I can't even remember who. Now, we did our Views from Main Street pod, and I said, Zoe, we got Gunther on the show tomorrow. We got excited about it. We were talking about how we're going to interview him, what we're going to ask him, yada, yada, yada. And I said, should I ask to take a chop on the air? And then I watched the Royal Rumble, and I watched Gunther give a Walter chop to a dude, and I'm like,
All right. Here's the thing, Rob. Here's what you need to consider. Okay. Gunther,
that my heart might explode.
No. Gunther's he's in a ring with a lot of smaller guys, shorter guys. You are not that guy. You're not that guy. You're a bigger guy. You can handle a chop like that. Yeah, Rey Mysterio. It's going to look like it hurts. You're not Rey Mysterio. You're Rob Brown. I mean, come on. I saw you throw out that first pitch. I think you can handle a chop.
Listen, I am an elite level athlete.
There you
I'm
go.
Not arguing that.
There
right?
you go.
I am an elite level athlete.
And you don't even have to bare chest it. I mean, he can do it over your shirt.
Dude, this dude made his name on the circuit by chopping dudes' sternums through their own chest cavity.
If you are not a wrestling fan, you're probably listening to the wrong show. But if you're not a wrestling fan and you're listening to this segment and you're going, okay, I don't know who this is, look up Gunther or Walter, and you will see a nice little video packages out there of nothing but chops. And before, and I'm gonna talk to him about this tomorrow. But before I knew who he was, I had a couple buddies that worked in the radio in this building, and they're like, "You've got to see this guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've never heard of him before." And this was before he came to WWE, and they just showed me videos, the chop videos, and I'm just like, "Oh." And you and I have been in an arena for AEW, and they had a chop fest that was so loud that was unbelievable. Yeah. I gotta believe
this guy
that
is the chop guy.
He is the chop. If you get chopped by him, I think they'll hear it down the hallway.
I'm not even kidding you to tell you I'm afraid my heart will stop. That's not a joke. I'm afraid if I took the question would be, if we do, does he full-fledged do it? Or does he go, I don't want to murder this man live on the radio. Let me give him like 20%.
Here's what I believe.
Let me give him enough that he regrets it, but not enough that he needs an ambulance.
I believe we could talk all the stuff we want and everything, but I think it comes down to, I'm not saying you're talking stuff. I'm saying we could if we wanted to, because unless his guys with him are bringing in a stack of waivers to be signed, I think there's legality involved, and I'm not sure he would do it. I'm not sure he's allowed to.
I will tell you this. So those of you that have listened to this show for some length of time know that I used to, back in Florida, do ring announcing and other stuff for a couple of small indie promotions down there. And we had come through that area a number of usually older superstars, but some that were not so much. I have been involved with a Matt Hardy match. I have been involved with a Marty Jannetty match. I have been involved in a match with, here's my favorite one of all time, Eugene. Remember Eugene?
Yes.
Eugene would not fly on TV today. Nicest one of all of them.
You don't like midgets.
Eugene was great. Loved Eugene. I have been involved in a match with the New Age Outlaws. I am 1-0 in professional wrestling as a tag team member of the New Age Outlaws. I am indeed an honorary member of the New Age Outlaws. Had a blast doing all that. When the Outlaws were in town, I took a power slam from Badass Billy Gunn, who is still very large.
Also now known as Daddy.
Daddy ass, for sure. I took a suplex from Matt Hardy when he was there. I learned how to, I did this stuff. I would take 50 Billy Gunn power slams before I took a full-fledged chop from Gunther. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to talk about it, and he's going to come in here tomorrow, and he's going to have to turn sideways to walk through the door, and I'm going to go, I'm good.
All right, I was curious because I'm always curious about how tall wrestlers are. Apparently he's 6'4". So you and I are going to have a problem because we're not used to people being taller than us. And I just find that very annoying that someone's taller than me. But I'm not going to tell him that.
I don't think that there's anybody that works in this building that has me.
There used to be.
Yeah, I'm sure there used to be, but there's not right now. I'm the biggest dude in this building right now. I'm the tallest guy in this building right now.
By like a half an inch or something. Yeah. I mean, I get
dudes.
it.
We take that.
I get it.
Right?
Okay.
We take that. This dude's got me by an inch. We weigh the same, but he's an athlete. I am a fat slob.
Whereas he is svelte and he's slimmed down, and we're gonna have discussions about that when he comes in too, because
Dude's in great shape.
Because dude is he put some work in. And so this is gonna be a fun interview. The last in studio interview with a wrestler that I can recall is when Charlotte Flair was sitting right over there when she came in, and that was a good little bit ago. By the way, Charlotte Flair going to be in Greenville also tomorrow night, because tomorrow night
title match
is SmackDown at the Well, and we'll be there.
Yep. Charlotte Flair in a title match with Sonya Deville.
We'll
we know that. We know that we have a match between Braun Strowman and Ricochet in a tag team eliminator against Imperium. That is the tag team associated with the WWE Intercontinental Champion, the Ring General Gunther, who will be live in studio tomorrow. So you have about 23 hours. If you've got any questions you would like us to ask Gunther, if you've got any comments you want to throw them at us on social media at The Rob Brown Show, looking forward to that.
So my question for the guys on the stream on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I don't mean to interrupt.
This guy's
it's twice now. I quit.
If Gunther can't do it, there is a local wrestler who is very well known for his chops, JD Drake. He's on AEW. I have taken chops before. I took chops, and I forget the guy's name, and I apologize, but I took chops from a guy that was in Ring of Honor back when Ring of Honor was like not AEW property, but like right before it kind of hit the brakes.
Yeah.
I took a chop from that guy, who was another guy kind of known for chops, obviously nowhere near Gunther. I took a bare-chested chop from that guy, and it stung for, I'm not kidding you, about 24 hours. Before it finally got to where, I went home that night and could not put a shirt back on. I went home, I showered, and I was like, no, I'm just going to be a fat guy with no shirt on tonight because, ow.
Was it worth it?
It depends on what you mean. Did it entertain the hell out of the people around me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we're about. So tomorrow, if the opportunity should arise and the Armada calls for it, you gotta take the chop, man.
We'll see. It's the best I'm gonna give you.
If something like this should happen, because we get him for a half hour, which means there's going to be a commercial break in there, and during that commercial break, you're going to get some exclusive stuff. Fingers crossed, with us and Gunther, maybe even a chop. You know what we could do? We can just pick a rando from the hallway, get him to come in here, and just have him chop them when they walk through the door.
If he chops Stone Man, he might crack him in half.
He'd have to swing awful down.
Yeah.
I mean, way down there. We could get someone from the newsroom. We'll get Rob Jones in here. Rob Jones would do it.
Rob Jones would do it.
We'll bring Rob Jones in here.
Matthew would turn into a cloud of dust.
Yeah, I'm not doing that to Matthew. We'll bring Rob Jones in here. He's an old wrestling guy. He'll take it. All right, so SmackDown tomorrow night. If you are there, come up and just close your eyes and listen, and you'll find out where Rob is. And I'm sure he would love to meet you. I would love to meet you also, but don't expect lengthy conversation, because hi, how you doing is that's like the length of my vocabulary when I'm live and in person. And if you are watching from afar, I am having a good time. Just warning you, because I'm intense. I'm in the moment. I don't cheer a whole lot because I might miss something. And I'm just drinking it all in, man.
Steven said you might have better luck with the Duke's Mayo Challenge than the chop. Yeah. I might die
Yeah,
either way.
given the choice. If you had no choice but to, you going mayo or you going chop. Hey, that chop, the mayo could have lasting effects. That chop, a week or two later, the swelling might go down and you'd be all right.
I'm not even kidding when I say I'm genuinely concerned that he might reset
Kevin,
my body.
Kevin, if you do that, I'm leaving, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm going to be there with my family. Do not do that.
All right. So
see, he's the only one I'm worried about actually doing what he's saying he'll do. The Royal Rumble was excellent on all counts, especially Cody won, Rhea won. We kind of knew that's how that was going to go, and it wasn't really that bad as far as knowing who's going to win. But the best thing happened at the end. The bloodline is not what it was. It is no longer that. They beat up Kevin Owens pretty bad. They wanted Sami Zayn or he who needs to be acknowledged wanted Sami Zayn to beat up Kevin Owens with a chair, and he couldn't do it, and he gave a chair shot to Roman. But that wasn't the biggest surprise. The biggest swerve, and I've seen this everywhere, is not that Sami turned to protect his friend. It's that Jey Uso walked out. That is the biggest. I don't think anyone saw that coming, and that was great.
I think the drama around that was heightened by Sami going Seth on Roman, right? Like when he did that, I think that in itself was a spot. I think Jay walking out was a spot, but I think that those two things combined, and it's not even about the chair swing or the walkout so much as it is about now all of the sudden what's next, right? Like that is tomorrow's going to be a great show. I can't wait. WWE's been very, very good the last half a year under Triple H. Tomorrow I am most pumped. We get a women's championship match. That's great.
We did
a tag match between.
I'm not sure that Sonya Deville deserves it, but she gets it.
The storyline is that she keeps getting them without deserving.
Right,
That's a fun story.
Right. When you're ex-management, you can do some finagling because you know how the system works.
We get a Braun and Ricochet tag team match against Imperium, who I am a huge fan of.
By the way,
right
Ricochet and Logan Paul at the Rumble, even though it's been done before, it's still amazing. It doesn't happen very often. Jumping from one side of the ring to the other and running into each other in the air. That's it's an amazing thing to watch.
Yes, it is. Phenomenal moment.
And Logan Paul was a surprise because
and a very pleasant
one.
Yeah. Phenomenal is Ricochet. Big fan. I suspect there's a very good chance we get a Logan Paul appearance to kind of harp on that if Ricochet is going to be there.
I hope so. I'm interested in how the upstate will react to Logan Paul if he comes.
It will be interesting. But all that being said, to get back to the full circle of this, I'm not waiting for anything other than what I suspect opens the show, and that is a showdown. Now, the question mark is going to be, and I don't know if we'll get any clues about this, because remember, we do have the Elimination Chamber event before WrestleMania. Are they going to have Jay roll over with KO and Sammy, and now you have Roman Solo and Jimmy versus Jay, Sammy, and KO? Are you going to give Sammy the opportunity to go after Roman, or are you going to have Cody take that spot and make it more about Sammy and KO and the Uso? Like, there's 50 different ways this could go, and they've done so good with this story so far that I am genuinely excited to see what tomorrow holds.
So anyway, don't forget, tomorrow, 10:45 to 11:15 is when he's scheduled to be in studio. We are going to have Gunther here. We're going to ask him a ton of questions, and we'll take your questions too. And we'll have a lot of fun with him. And maybe someone gets chopped, maybe someone doesn't. I mean, it's still going to be fun either way.
I shouldn't open my stupid mouth. I really should.
Well, you didn't know I was going to say it. I mean.
Yeah, in fact, I do believe I specifically said, don't bring this up on air. But
I don't recall you saying that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
I don't.
If only had a recorded video that I could go back and check.
Yeah, that part isn't recorded.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, so I mean,
Dang it. Oh, well. We'll see. WWE Intercontinental Champion, the Ring General Gunther, will be in studio tomorrow at 10:45. Stay tuned for that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. wrap up the third, final, and best hour of the show and call it a Thursday on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
More than likely, I will be spending extra time with the granddaughter who feels safer with me when the pyro is going off. So, because we still, even though your seats are better than mine, because, he's talent and I'm not, we're still going to be right really close to that pyro. Never got to ask my question, so I'll ask anybody on the stream who will answer this. Is it disrespectful for me to wear a shirt of the biggest goofballs ever in the history of the sport while the person across from me is going to be he holds the squared circle sacred?
He does. The sacred mat.
I was already going to wear the shirt. I'm not going to not wear the shirt because I'm worried that someone may want to hurt me because I'm wearing the shirt. You know what? If he brings heat this way, I got it. I'm good. I'll be like this the entire time I'm talking, but I'm good. It's all I know how to do, Josh. I just thought about it. I'm going to be technically trolling two different groups of people tomorrow.
I mean, if you would like to openly troll the U.S. Intercontinental Champion, that's on you.
It's my, people getting mad at me is where that's my comfort zone.
I think I'm going to wake up tomorrow and just absolutely slick the hair back.
Why is tomorrow any different than
Take
normal day?
wrestling very seriously. Our sacred mat.
I will tell you, I'm not going to be that pro tomorrow that, Gunther, stop that. You shouldn't fanboy when someone cool is in the studio. You absolutely should. Every time a wrestler, I get a chance to talk to a wrestler, I've said this many times on the air and I will do it tomorrow. I think of my papaw and getting the one thing that he and I had in common was watching wrestling. And any chance I get to talk to a wrestler, I don't know if my papa was ever proud of me because it didn't. I mean, the age difference was so much. I know he is when I'm talking to wrestlers.
Troy said, I think this could be the best WWE show Greenville's ever had, ever hosted based on the climate of storylines. I don't know because I've been to two and one happened while I was on vacation.
Which I was at, and it wasn't bad. And if I recall, I think that's the one where Brock Lesnar came out and said, "Acknowledge me," which was great.
Was it?
He put the stairs down in the middle of the ring and walked up.
Yep,
yeah. It was good. It really was.
Brock has been at both shows.
And I got to see how big almost really was.
Brock
and I got to see
also,
McAfee. And that's to me, I'm popping about McAfee and everybody's like, yeah, what's the big deal? It's like,
I hope McAfee's
that's the guy right there.
Brock opened up the Raw that I was at too. Actually, Heyman opened up the Raw that I was at.
See, maybe that was the one. I've been in so many, I start getting them a little confused. I know we've had go home shows before pay-per-views before, but I don't recall having one after a major thing just happened.
Yeah.
And they didn't show up on Raw. None of those guys was on Raw. So this is the show where they're going to have to address all of that. That is a concern for me, Josh. But there's another person in the room who doesn't know how to shut down. So if I get so nervous I can't ask a question, I'm sure Rob will ask 10,000 for both of us. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask some questions, guys. I got questions. I want the glare. I got to do something to get the glare. I want that Gunther glare directed at me. Because that's love for me. All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what's trending, and he will tell us why it is trending. Gisele Bündchen is trending.
So Tom Brady puts out the video yesterday, which was then immediately recognized as definitely not having been filmed the morning it was released. That was awkward. Triggered some conspiracy theories, and by some conspiracy theories, I mean mine. But then the weird part was that shortly after that, the official Gisele social media, I think Instagram account, commented on Brady's retirement video and said effectively, cheers to your next chapter of life, whatever that might be.
It's like we wish you well in your future endeavors.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was.
Brady got future endeavored by his ex-wife that he divorced so he could go 8-9 and lose to the Dallas Cowboys in the wild card round. It was, you ever been in a bar when a couple around you's broken up? You ever been in a bar when a couple around you broke up that you were friends with? I have. It's very awkward. It's very, very awkward. And that was the same vibe that Gisele dumped on all of America yesterday.
You know, if I had friends, I think it probably would be awkward. All right, the next thing trending is Christy Brinkley.
Christy Brinkley. Birthday?
Yes.
73.
Oh, she ain't that old, dude. She's
65.
65.
There
She
you
is
go.
65. All right, one last thing. It's kind of a sad thing. It's not a death, but some people may consider it that. Ozzy is trending.
Did I see Ozzy retired?
He has to.
He has to?
Because he's had several spinal surgeries. He's had stem cell treatments, a bunch of things like that, and he just can't.
Just can't do it.
Yeah, so
I think that's okay. I think Ozzy's given us enough, right? I think Black Sabbath, one of the most unappreciated bands of all freaking time, and Ozzy Osbourne has given us enough. Ozzy, head to your mansion, pop down on the comfiest couch, sit back, relax, and enjoy the appreciation that you have earned.
Yeah, he put out, it's like a page long thing. You need to check it out. And he says his voice is fine.
Yeah.
But physically, he just can't do it anymore.
Dude, again, I think Ozzy's walking away at a point where Ozzy has contributed enough to the music scene that he walks away as an absolute legend in rock and roll.
Hey, Rob.
Black Sabbath remains a GOAT tier band.
Hey, Rob. We got SmackDown tomorrow and Gunther in studio.
Live in studio, WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther will be here tomorrow at 10:45. Then we'll have a SmackDown preview probably. And we'll talk Pro Bowl flag football game. How are you not juiced about this? He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Rob, you want to say goodbye to the stream?
I do. I had to finish typing out that email, and now I will. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it sincerely and genuinely. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you back here tomorrow for our, well, always incredible show and Gunther. Have a great day. Bye-bye.